Talk FM 108.
This is the GJRB Online Network.
It's like, hang on a second, I gotta plug in my headphones there. There we go. Hello everyone, hello everywhere, across America and around the world, from the GJRB Spreaker Studios, just along the north end of Clinton, just on the north end, just above the Lions so-called shopping district, which doesn't seem to exist anymore. And welcome to the Garyj Sports Page, here on GJRB Online. And this show hasn't been on for quite some time. Last time we did a show, it was October. Football season was in its, early weeks, actually. Something like maybe 4 or 5 weeks in. And it's been since, 4 months since we did a sports page? Good grief. Something's got to change there somewhere. But it will be, because I'm thinking about doing this show now. According to my new schedule, the GJRB schedule 2020, I have plans on a new radio schedule. I know you know about it. I have it on my flash drive, which I have to plug in. And you'll hear a little dink there when I plug that in. Anyway, I have this show planned for like every couple of weeks. Let's see what we got here. Oh, here we go. There's a port opening right there. Anyway, I'll be doing this show a lot more often. It's been like forever since I've done a sports page, and I'm working on because I got this new radio schedule that I worked on. And this new radio schedule pretty much is what I've said before. It's a interesting radio schedule. Our radio schedule 2010 finally came up on your computer so that I could go to it. And it shows here. And, of course, like I said, I got to work on a new video, because the last video I did for that, sucked, because I did well over an hour and a half. And YouTube only gave me 56 minutes and 54 seconds worth of video. And I'm going, what the heck? Did the rest of it go? Anyway, I'm working on a new video for that, and there'll be some day when we'll be off the air here on GJRB Online on Spreaker, so that I can record a new video. And I'm going to do a little differently. Is I'm going to pre-record it and then edit it in, and then I'm going to put it back up. So it's probably going to go down and get revamped. Is all that's going to happen. Now, Garyj Sports Page, according to the schedule, will be in weeks 2 and 4. So it'll be week 2, and then we'll have another show in week 4, which would be the last week of the month. So that would be on the regular schedule. So every 2 weeks, I will have a sports page, and it could be even more than that. It just depends on how the schedule is going to work out, how much information I have in sports going to do, and I'm trying to see if if I can get I'll have to get a hold of him again. He's been on and off the air, and I don't know his schedule. And that is Bob Huber, the Huber Experience. He was going to join me in here to talk about sports, and I'm hoping maybe we can get him in there. And I'm joining something else that's called Podchaser, which I think is pretty neat, because Podchaser has a bank of guest hosts and people that I could probably grab that could do sports page with me, especially some of the people that I depend on can't make it. And I'm looking to do that. Although I don't know when, I'm looking to do that. But anyway, every 2 weeks we'll be on the air for a Garyj Sports Page, so it won't be 4 months since the last show, because, like I said, it's just that's the way it happens. It all just went down the hole pretty quick because of a lot of things. But here I am. And here it is, Garyj Sports Page on GJRB Online. Got an interesting week coming up. I'm really busy. I've got some voice tracking to finish with my crooners which will be on the air Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, Friday afternoon, 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. And then at 3 o'clock, we're going to do radio, television, and movie classics. But I had a blue USB port drive, and I had the rundown for the show, which would have been radio, television, and movie classics. And I think I have it slated for March, because I looked on my way out there, and I had that slated for February 22nd, which will be next Friday. Or February 22nd? Did I have that right? Anyway, I have it slated for the 21st, which is next Friday. And I'm hoping I get to do that, because I have that all show just about ready. I have about maybe an hour and a half left to write. And I'll have that ready for next Friday. Next Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock Central Time, right after the last 7 days, we'll bring you Gary J's. I'll bring you that show. Now, the last 7 days, it'll be way out there. Next Friday, 3 o'clock Central Time, right here on Spreaker, will be way out there. And I got a few interesting stories to talk about on that show, and I'll preview that. Speaking of preview, yeah, I did a preview over on my Garyj on Spreaker side. It was okay, but like I said, I've got to get into this new habit, and I've got to put it in my show prep. That I'm going to do a preview, maybe like about 10, 15 minutes, on the show that I'm going to do, and I would post it. But the thing about it is, it gets really iffy when you flip over to my other account. Because when I flip over to my other account and I want to record a 15-minute preview on Facebook, to go on Facebook, I have to go through this rigmarole where you have to connect to it, enable it, and then it doesn't do anything to show that I'm connected. It says I'm connected, but then it doesn't show up on there. I don't know. So I've got to work on that. I got to practice. I got to play around with it a little bit and do brief previews to make sure that it's coming out the way I say it's going to come out. It's one of those things, I love this that I could pull up an account and do 2 accounts like that. I love that 2 accounts. I enjoy that. I really do. And what's really fun about it is I get to I can make a 10 to 15 minute preview of what's coming up on the show. Just kind of what I'm going to talk about and everything. And I just did a quick 2 minutes because that's all I had time for. Because at the time I was running something here locally on my closed circuit 9-foot signal, which is being heard right now, Talk FM 108, which is my 9-foot closed circuit signal, which only goes with a radius of like 9 feet around the studio. And of course, I'm going to say that because I don't care. It's a puny little thing. It can be, once you leave the parking lot, it's gone. So I'm not going to really worry too much because I really don't think, it's a part 15, so I really don't think I'm doing any harm. Anyway, welcome to the show. Gary J. Russell with you. Hope you enjoyed the program. We got a great program lined up for you today. We've got a lot of stuff going on and some really good, interesting sports to talk about. Scores every 10 minutes. That's what we do. We do live scores every 10 minutes. Now, I'm looking at that here because I'm not sure exactly if what we have here as far as scores are concerned. So I'm going to go over to my Yahoo here in just a little bit, see what we got in scores. We usually don't do scores in the opening interim of the show. It's usually I do a monologue and open up the show a little bit, kind of loosen things up a little bit, get kind of relaxed and stuff, and do a monologue and start into the sports news. But I have a lot of stories I want to cover, so I want to get into it right away. But I just wanted to mention that, doing that preview is fun, but I have to, Facebook, you have to go in and you have to enable it so that it goes up, but I'm not always sure that it worked. And I didn't have time to really see, so I've got to do some practicing in that department because I don't know exactly why it doesn't work. I'm going to have to work on it a little bit. It takes practice, You know, old Fred Rogers used to always say, practice, practice, practice. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, too. But anyway, we'll do our scores and stuff a little later on in the show. And I hope you'll stay with me throughout the afternoon. Looking out the window here. And snow on the ground. And it's snowing pretty good, steady there. I thought it wasn't going to stick right away. Didn't say it was going to stick right away. Although it was predicted that we were going to get some snow today, but it's sticking. It's coming down pretty good. It was coming down pretty good when I took my dog out this afternoon. Yeah, it's coming down pretty good now, and it looks like it's sticking. So we'll keep on touch on that one. And I'll activate my Skype. You can get a hold of me on that. I'm going to be posting here on so let you know that I am on the air. So I have to manually post because Facebook won't do it. So I'm going to beat them to it and do it myself. Yeah, a lot better off anyway because I usually just post. I type a thing there, and it's generic because it's the same message every time. I just post to let people know that I'm on live is all I'm doing there. So I post on Spreaker Tavern, which I've got to connect my other side, Gary John's Facebook page, the Spreaker Tavern, and also to my other Spreaker account there, my Spreaker group, Meet the Spreakers, so that I can get my previews posted as well. But let's see what we've got here. I'm going to I'm posting right now, and we'll talk about a lot of interesting things and talk about some stories and try to watch a lot of things. I was telling you earlier that I was trying to watch some wrestling. I've just been working on shows and show preview, and show prep, and I don't always get time to really watch much television. I try to, between show prep, but this monitor I use, it doubles as a television and a computer monitor. So I either can watch television or work on the computer. Can't do both. Cannot do both. So I have to improvise a little bit and flip back and forth. Don't watch the commercials, just watch the show, and then flip back and forth and catch some stuff. So I try to catch a little bit of wrestling. I caught a little bit of wrestling about a few weeks ago. And then I left the room and I didn't finish what I was watching because I had some other stuff to do, which usually is the case. So I didn't really catch a lot of it. But I wanted to catch wrestling. And I also want to get a chance to watch bowling. I love pro bowler. I used to watch Pro Bowlers Tour with my dad when I was a kid. I used to love that. When Chris Schenkel and the other guy used to do it on ABC. Oh, yeah, I used to love to watch that. Every Saturday, my dad and I watched that. We had a Pro Bowlers Tour. And then before that even, we had the American Bandstand, which I think they used to record and play later. Or WTAE, Channel 4 in Pittsburgh, ABC affiliate. And then they would have a local bowling show, which came on the air. And it was hosted by Nick Perry, who later got himself into a whole lot of heat and trouble when he decided to fix the state lottery to go 666 back in, late 70s. Yeah. Still one of those things that where, it was weird. I remember that happening. Debbie Scottswood, hi Debbie, how you doing? It's been a long time since we've heard from you. Yeah, good to hear from you. How you doing? I kind of miss you on here. I have to find your show. Are you still doing a show? It's been a long time since I've heard from you. Thank you for joining me. I'm doing the Sports Page Talk Show. I'll be online talking about sports And I've got a few things that we're going to talk about this afternoon. We're going to get into it. I want to first off talk about, I miss your show. I do. I miss listening to the music. You had some good show, good music on. So I'm hoping that maybe we can find you. We're listening somewhere else. No, my husband died January 19th. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm sad. That's you guys had a good show. We're thinking about you, and we're praying for you. Happy birthday, by the way. Happy birthday. My birthday is tomorrow. I'll be 59 tomorrow. So I have my birthday tomorrow. So happy birthday, Debbie. And thank you for joining the show. And let's see what we got here coming up. We're going to talk about some of the sports. Antonio Brown. Yeah, I'm from Pittsburgh. Antonio Brown wants to apologize. He was making an apology to the Pittsburgh Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah, he's been apologizing. He wants to get back with the Steelers after he decided he was going to defect. He died on my birthday. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's just that's shocking. That is shocking. I am so sorry. I've been I know you kind of touched because I'm still in touch with BJ McNamara, BJ, Black Dragons Radio. And I talked to him from time to time and was wondering about you because I know he used to listen to you too. And he's over on Podbean, which is another platform. And so he's been over there. He moved over to Podbean and doing his show over there. It's okay. I like Podbean. I do it too, but I don't like their music and I don't like their web-based console. I like it and I don't like it. And because I can't load my music on there, and I really can't do all that much with the board I have. So I kind of stick with Spreaker, and I went in forth with the discount, and I jumped on board with the broadcaster plan here on Spreaker, and doing 3 hours. But I'm doing regular programming, kind of like what you guys used to. And another station I listen to called MTFB Aviation Network, where I kind of do various programs and I keep posting shows. And I do voice tracking, and I just want to keep constant and try to get more audience. So that's what I'm doing. I kind of have a regular station going here. So I do sports page, I do nostalgia, I do 40s, 50s, 60s music, jazz, and old time radio and stuff like that. So I do here on GGRB. Let's see. I was talking. Oh yeah, and right now I'm doing sports page, and you're welcome to be a participant in that. I love doing sports talk. So thank you for sticking around. Hope you will be with me here. But anyway, getting back to Antonio Brown, he's trying to get back with the Steelers. And he went and he attempted to bury the hatchet with Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. In an Instagram posting, Brown apologized to Roethlisberger. Also tells his former quarterback, "I never realized how good I had it." So I think he kind of regrets leaving the Steelers. At least in the third time in February, Brown was apologizing for his behavior during an interview on ESPN. On February 1st, Brown apologized to the NFL for his past behavior. And then back on February 6th, he apologized to the organization for the distractions while appearing on a talk show there called 93.7 The Fan. Now, I know about that station. It used to be B94, top 40 station back in Pittsburgh. Being up from Pittsburgh, I know that. Brown expressed a desire to return to the team, and he says he could get it going. And for 9 seasons, Brown and Roethlisberger formed one of the greatest prolific pairs in football history. Every one of the Browns' 74 receiving touchdowns in Pittsburgh came from Roethlisberger under center. Brown's apology tour recently sounds like a ploy to get back to the NFL. It may not be easy for the 31-year-old. He's still a number of personal issues and serious allegations to address before returning to the league, including a rape allegation, an alleged battery incident, which occurred when at the Browns' house. Prior to that issue coming to light, Brown is regarded as one of the best, if not the best, receiver in his era. A team may be tempted to give Brown another chance based on his talent, and he's going to have to do a lot more than offer up apologies to convince teams he turned things around. So I guess, he's just having trouble turning things around a little bit, Antonio. He was a good football player when he was with the Steelers. It's a shame that it would come to that, but the Pittsburgh Steelers, they need a refreshing anyway. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger is still a good quarterback, I say that, but I think they need to revamp their team because they could have won. They could be winning team, but unfortunately, that's not the case here. We'll have scores coming up on the other side of the heartbreak here on GJRB Online. You're welcome to be on the show, and I'm going to open up the. I got the chat room open. We already had one person in there, Debbie Scott of the Debbie Scott Network, and you can be on it too. You're welcome to be part of it. Gary J Sports Page. I'm going to open up my chat room here, but I'm going to open up my. I'm going to open up my Skype. And I am Gary.Russet on Skype. You can get in there and call the show and be on the air. Also, if you are a friend of mine on Facebook and you happen to have a messenger, you can get in and hit that call button and be on the air. Or just chat with me in the chat room. I got to open up that and make myself available. So I got to click that little red dot there. Let's see if I can make that happen. Takes a while, but it gets there. Let me see here. Okay, active. Okay, I want to be active. So why aren't you going active on me? Yeah, this computer is slow as molasses in January, but got to fix that issue. Got a lot of cleaning on this computer. It's old. The fan overruns. I have a lot of problems with this computer, but it serves its purpose, thank God. Jeremy Rodnick was suspended by NBC. We got that coming up. He was suspended by NBC for a comment he made with a coworker. We got that coming up. Also on the line coming up, we have a look at the spring training. We're going to talk about the Pittsburgh. We're going to talk a lot about the Cubs. We're going to talk about spring training. The signs that we're getting finally into spring, which I kind of look forward to. Spring training. The Yankees manager not convinced that the Astros didn't cheat in the 2019 playoffs. We're going to talk about that. And let's see what else. UFC's Nate Diaz may sue Miami Herald over a domestic violence, retracted domestic violence story. And we got coming up too, stick around, we'll have this. NFL reinstates Browns defensive end Myles Garrett, suspended for swinging a helmet at the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph. Remember that one? Well, he's getting he's going to be reinstated. He's going to be reinstated. Myles Garrett's getting reinstated. Now, you have to ask yourself one question over that one. This guy really swung that helmet. And I didn't see footage of that, but it didn't look good. I mean, seriously. I mean, that's why this guy's getting reinstated. I mean, we'll talk about this. And a whole lot more. Your comments are welcome to be on the show, and I'll try and see if we can get a hold of a few people. Maybe someone will come on. Maybe like Bob Huber, the Huber Experience, because I'd like to hear his opinion on that one. Might have to put a little explicit. That'd be the first time I put an explicit on any of my shows, because I've never really put explicit on my shows. I never do that. But oh wow. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to get ready because I'm going to be doing sport. I'm going to do my weather on the fives. It's time for that. And then we'll come back and I'll talk about those, and we'll do a sports update, which is what we're doing right now. Anyhow, we'll just kind of give you a preview of what we got coming up and do all that. You're listening to Gary Russin. Gary J. I'm Gary Russin. This is Gary J. Sports Page. Gary J. being my middle name is John. Gary John Russin, Gary John, and this is Gary J. Sports Page on GJRB Online here on Spreaker across America. And I want to thank you for tuning in, and always a pleasure to bring you this program. And I'm going to spin, and I've got a lot of tabs up now, my weather on the fives, which I should have had ready moments ago. So I'm going to go into my National Weather Service and pull that up. Yeah, do. You know, it's one of those, like Freestyle Friday. Like I do my freestyle other show. What was that other show I do? Oh, yeah, Big Edition, the Gary Russell program. I got that coming up, too. I'm going to do one of those. And then doing a video version of the Gary Russell program, Royal Treat. That's coming up on the GJRB TV YouTube channel. Subscribe to that by going to YouTube and just go to click, just type in Gary John Russin, GJR, just type in GJRB TV on YouTube. Should take you right to my channel, and just subscribe to it and hit that notification bell for coming videos and shows, because they'll be coming up. And I'm one of those guys for videos. I'll have to talk about that one later. But anyway, let's, without further ado, time now to take a look at the weather on the fives here.
Nationwide weather update. This is GJRB's weather on the fives.
Yeah, the strong storm system now with multiple hazards will race across the eastern half of the United States today. Heavy rain and flooding is likely from saturated areas of the south to Tennessee and the Ohio valleys. Severe thunderstorms with damaging winds and a few tornadoes are possible over across parts of Alabama, Mississippi, and Tennessee, and accumulating snow is possible over parts of the Midwest and the interior Northeast. And we'll take a look at your forecast throughout the afternoon. We'll have a weather on the fives with Weather Nation coming up in the next hour. I'm looking outside right now saying, boy, oh boy, look at that. Oh, geez. It's coming down real good now. Yeah. Well, whatever the case. I think that, I don't know. My dad used to always say, we got snow like in April. We get snow like in March or April. And my dad would always say, this is the last snow. Yeah, sure it is, Dad. Yeah, it's the last snow, right. We used to laugh at that. I used to have a good time with that. But it's the last snow. We ain't going to get no more after this. It's going to get sunny and warm. Yeah. Well, it's predicted by the groundhog, The groundhog said we were going to get, early spring. But do we believe this groundhog? Do we really? Nah. Just one of those things that, whatever. Just whatever. Yeah. Anyhow, it's just
GJRB Sports Page Update starts now.
And we're talking about this. I heard Antonio Brown tries to bury the hatchet with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger realized how really, really good he had it coming up. Nate Diaz may sue the Miami Herald over a domestic violence story. And NFL is going to reinstate Browns defensive end Myles Garrett. Now, he was suspended for swinging a helmet at the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph. a while back. So we're going to take a look at that story, and we'll have complete scores every 10 minutes. That's right here on Gary J's Sports Page, right here on GJRB Online. I'll be right back with more of the Sports Page in just a few minutes, right here on GJRB. And this is the GJRB Online Network. I'm Gary J. Rustin. Thanks a lot for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed the program. We'll be back with more of the Sports Page, with more good stuff coming your way in just a few minutes here on the GJRB Online Network.
America's street music is back on GJRB Bluegrass with the Grass Goals, Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys, and so much more. So it's time to bring it back, not more often. It's Bluegrass Jubilee Freestyle with all the great songs.
Kafara will also be here in the next hour. She is one of the Democrats who appears regularly here.
Also, some all-time.
Okay, we will be on there.
GJRB.
Okay. We'll be right back.
End times are upon us, and we need to know what's happening. Knowing the truth is key to survival. There are lots of news events going on in the world that have certain significance to end time happenings. Listen, as men and women gather to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy on the last 7 days. Uploaded as a podcast Wednesdays and run live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB. Suicide's increasing among the youth, and many of them playing suicide games. This has to stop. Parents, watch your kids, and if you feel there's something going on and they are considering suicide, please talk to them, help them. And if it seems hopeless, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That number is 1-800-273-8255. They can help. It's free and confidential. Your call will be answered by a trained counselor in a local crisis center. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline can help.
If you're a new emerging artist and want your songs out there, the place to go is Reverb Nation. Reverb Nation, a website totally devoted to new music from new artists from every town and every state in the U.S. If you're a solo artist and recording your own music, it's Reverb Nation. Stop on by, visit, listen to the music. Check out the site, www.reverbnation.com. Put your music out there and gain an audience. Go to Reverb Nation for the best in new music. And remember, if you like your songs played on GJRB Online's Up and Coming, drop me an email at GaryJ65@yahoo.com. And I'll be playing your song on all GJRB online shows. Remember the name, Reverb Nation.
Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radio Land. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between. Like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radio Land.
Coast to coast and way out there, fans, listen up. If you like UFO conspiracies, ghosts, and the paranormal, you'll love Spaced Out Radio. Spreaker's answer to Coast AM, with more interesting guest experts in the paranormal and UFOs each month. If you like Way Out There, you'll love Spaced Out Radio. Own the night with Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Nightly at 11 p.m. Central, 12 o'clock midnight Eastern, and 9 p.m. Pacific. On Spreaker, on Periscope, and on D-Talk Radio Network. Recently, the owner of Facebook had to face Congress over personal information on Facebook users. In addition, users were saying that their postings were being deleted. Getting sick and tired of your censorship and your data being used without your permission? Do something about it now. Come to MeWe, the internet social site that values your freedom. No more deleted postings. Make a step to freedom. Sign up today. It's easy. Go to www.MeWe.com. That's M-E-W-E. MeWe, the internet's free speech social site. GJRB will have a website soon with information on program schedules and GJRB Online live streaming. Website starting soon. Part of the visual GJRB Online. GJRB. Okay, we're back on the air here on GJRB Online. Gary J. Russell with you here, and this is Gary J's Sports Page here on GJRB Online Network, and glad you could be with me today. We got great sports talk radio here, and of course, like I said before, on my local, and glad no one hears that side. I had the wrong weather forecast up. It said 80 degrees. I wish it was. I had to play that wrong one, didn't I? I'm going to have to fix that. I thought I had the right one on there, and apparently I'm going to have to clean up this computer and only have one forecast on there. So I'm going to have to do some computer cleaning. And I'm going to have to do that one day and fix that issue. So I'm going to have to revert back to something next hour. Anyway, welcome back to the Gary J Sports Page on GJRB Online here on Spreaker. Glad you could be with me. We're going to do a live show here just about every day here on GJRB Online. We had Debbie Scott, and I really am so sorry to hear about her husband. Good grief. Jeez. Man, he had a good show too. They both did. It's a darn shame. Oh my gosh. Yes. And I hope that he went to, I know he went to a good place. You know, I believe that, I'm a Christian who believes that Christ died for our sins, and he died to set us free, and he died and paid the price, and it's to go to a beautiful place, and that's where he's at. I believe it. I certainly do. I can't say any more. It's just that's the truth. I always believe that. I don't believe in anything other than the Christ died for my sins. And what we're gonna, I pray for you, and Debbie, if you're still listening, I pray for comfort for you and your family at a time like that. Okay, pray for comfort, because I know that you're going through a lot right now. So, we're praying for you, okay? It's that's simple. That's terrible. My goodness. Anyway, welcome back to the show. Gary J Sports Page here on GJRB Online. Got to go and flip this over and go back into my sports page and see if I can pull up the scores, because we're going to do that coming up. Let me see what we got coming up anyway as far as concerned at this point. We're looking at some final scores from yesterday's I don't see any games going on at this point that I could see here in the NBA. There's some games tonight. We'll do a preview of those. And let's see what we else here. We had the games that played yesterday and those scores. So I'm going to do something with that a little later on. So no scores, but we will give you a rundown of what games are being played tonight in the NBA. So we'll do that. Okay, we're going to do the NBA stuff. So that's coming up. Meanwhile, though, let's see what we have coming up here. Let's continue with the sports page here on GJRB Online. I have my Skype open right now. I am active. Gary.Russin on Skype. You're a friend of mine on Facebook. You can get a hold of me that way as well. And that is go into the Facebook. You'll find Gary John Russin there. And if you're a friend of mine on Facebook, you can get in that way and get on the air through the Facebook Messenger. And you can get on the radio that way. And, of course, if you like to be have your voice on the radio, then you can get in the chat room here on Spreaker. Also, you can listen to this show live on Twitter. Very simple. Live on Twitter. All you have to do is go into Twitter. You'll see that. I like the way Facebook changed the way, rather Spreaker changed the way they did their display of the show's icon. It has my show, my picture of the show where I do like sports page. You'll have a neat little gold star on the top right. That's a neat logo. I really like the way they did that. They fixed that up real nice. And you'll see that anyway on my Twitter. You click that widget, and it'll open up into a player, and you can listen to the show right there. And you can also get in by clicking in there. The link will take you right to my chat room. And you can get right in and say hi right here on Spreaker. And I'll see that gold little letter number up there. And I'll know, click it, and I will respond to you. And we'll talk sports if you're interested. So let's see if we can get some more stories in there. Let's get going. And we'll do in about 10 minutes, we'll do a preview of the NBA and see who's playing in the NBA. We'll do that coming up in about 10 minutes. Okay? So just to let you know about that, because I don't have my scores ready anyhow, and there really isn't any live games playing right now. Do what we have been doing for some time now, and that is doing sports stories. So let's get back into it. Jeremy Rodnick, I guess that's how you pronounce it, Rodnick, was suspended by NBC Sports back in December for comments made with his coworker Catherine Tappan and Patrick Sharp while guest on the Barstool Sports, which is Spittin' Crickets podcast. Okay, I gotta check that out sometime. Appears to have concluded today with a dismissal. He was an NHL star and broadcaster, posted a video on Wednesday with a caption, "What a joke," and I'm looking at that right now. I'll see if I can play it. In pretty much, let's check that out. Let's hear it. Let me see what a joke. Let's see. There we go. Let's see. Here we go.
I'm very disappointed and angry today. I will not be returning to NBC. And though disappointed, I'm also grateful that I've had the opportunity to share my love, my passion, my knowledge of the game with millions of people, millions of fans, and for that I thank you. Even though I'm leaving NBC, I will not be gone for long. I'll be back better and more motivated to bring you the best entertainment and the best that I have for the game of hockey. I've seen all the support. I've read all the support. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's overwhelming. And for that, I can't wait to see you soon.
Yeah. He states that Rednick, who had made a commentary on December 19th episode of a popular hockey podcast show, which he described a vacation he took, which happened in his wife in Portugal, where he, on multiple occasions, people asked if the three of them were together, described joking them with engaging in group sex. The play, he said, stating, quote, "I play it off like we're all going to bed together every night for three of us." And it really came to fruition and would really be good, but it's never going to happen. Later in that episode, Rudnick spoke with Sharp's physical appearance as well, and then got into some other stuff, which of course will turn the show into explicit, so I'm not going to go any farther than that. But Rudnick, he played 20 seasons with the NHL. And if I ever pronounced that, Rudnick, he played 20 seasons with the NHL and had been an analyst for NBC Sports since 2020. So, you have to wonder about that. I mean, good grief, what's up with that? Man, I'm telling you what. We got somebody in the chat room over on my other side, over there on my Gary.Russin on Skype. And let's see, why am I not picking that up? And why is that not working? Why is that not working? Okay, there's a reason for that. Okay, there we go. I'm going to click over to that side now and see if we can get into that chat room page. Jennifer Karen on here. So let's see here. Jennifer Karen. Okay, accept. Change device. Whatever that means. Okay, I'm going to see here what's going on here. You can be part of the show and get on the radio. I do a sports talk show. This is Gary J. Sports Page, which is a sports talk show on GJRB Online Network here on Spreaker. Do a live program, and you can be part of the show. You want to get in on it? It's Gary.Wrestling on Skype. You can listen live and then join in the program. Also available, you can talk to me on Spreaker in the Spreaker chat room, and you can be a part of the program. You're welcome to be on it. Let's continue. Yankees manager not convinced that the Astros didn't cheat in the 2019 playoffs. Yeah, he's not convinced. Aaron Boone was not sure that the Astros didn't cheat last year. Yankee land prevailing thought to the fans who were cheated most by the Houston Astros sign-stealing scheme. We've heard players say it, and now the manager, Aaron Boone, is saying point blank that he doesn't know whether the Astros cheated last year in the ALCS's victory over the Yankees. Jose, let me see how to pronounce that. Okay, new private message. Okay. Jennifer is asking, how are you doing today? I tried texting you in your email, but your wife responded to that. Ooh. Yeah. Like I've said before, and I've stated it a number of times, if you're listening to this program, this basically, what I'm using this Skype for is a radio show. I take phone calls through Skype for responding to a radio program. So, I would suggest that you don't do that. That is just not appropriate. Like I said before, this is what I use Skype for. I use Skype for a radio show. That's pretty much it. You can welcome to call in and talk about what I'm talking about, but that's pretty much how that goes. No further than that. And I rarely ever use it at all. I have Spreaker. I have another account called Podbean. I take phone calls on the air to talk about sports or whatever I talk about here on the radio, and that's pretty much what I use it for. Spreaker, whatever, but that's pretty much it. It's for responding phone calls on radio. Okay, I'll tell you what we're going to do right now. 3:47 Central Standard Time, 4:47 Eastern, and it's 1:47 Pacific. You're listening to the Gary Wrestling Program, a show called Sports Page, in which I talk about sports. And I was talking about the sports here on GJRB Online. I don't know. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to, if you're listening, I don't know. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see. I'm going to, okay. Okay. I really can't type and talk at the same time. Okay. So anyway, I really can't do that, and I mentioned that to her before, that I do not respond to that because I am indeed married, and that's pretty much how that goes. I do not respond to other females unless they're calling the program to talk about what I'm talking about on the radio. That's pretty much how that goes. After that, it's usually I would think I get male callers on this program anyhow. Anyways, I heard players say it. Aaron Boone, who's saying that point blank he doesn't know whether the Astros cheated last year in their ALCS victory over the Yankees. Jose, I gotta pronounce it, Altuves, Altuves. Altuves walks off homer, became the fodder of the off-season conspiracy theories when he wouldn't let his teammates rip off his jersey, which added to the rumor that Astros hitters wore buzzers last season to signal what pitcher was coming. Boone's response: "No, that's certainly not certainly one of those great unknowns. There's more," from Wednesday's presser. And commentary here, Aaron Boone on the convincing on not whether or not he was wearing these devices last year in the NLCS. Let's hear what he has to say.
Did you see or read about A.J. Hinch's interview with the network? And the question about the devices got a lot of attention because he kind of talked around it. Are you fully convinced that the Astros were not using any sort of devices in last year's ALCS?
No. I mean that's certainly one of those great unknowns, and certainly I've spent time, as I'm sure a lot of people have, wondering all the things that could have potentially been going on, and probably will never know for sure, frankly. The exciting thing about it is, with how Major League Baseball, I feel like, has dealt with this, and obviously have dealt with it with a heavy hand. I do feel like it's something that will aid our sport moving forward and make our sport better moving forward, and that's kind of where my focus lies. Obviously these last several weeks has been a lot, and we've had a lot of time to kind of process all this, and the range of emotions has been huge. You're mad, frustrated, disappointed, but you also know there's a time to move on, and there's, I don't really dwell on the things that I don't really am able to control. So I look at it now as it's time to move on and look forward, and we have a great team in that room, and we know the sky's the limit for that team, and we have championship aspirations. And so as we, kick things off in earnest tomorrow, the focus is on, eliminating distractions and making sure we're in a position to start laying a foundation to be a champion.
Do you think?
So there you go. He said it like that, pretty much. Gary Sanchez found, in the New York Yankees catcher, Gary Sanchez found most of his creative way yet to respond to the Houston Astros cheating scandal. Sanchez spoke to the media on Wednesday and threw some shade on Jose Altuves and the new infamous video of him clutching his jersey as he ran to home base after a walk-off home run in 2017 American League Championship Series. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've seen that where some of these ball players are clenching their chest. They're somewhere on their jersey when they're running. I don't know exactly what it is. I thought maybe I never really thought about it, what they're doing there. So I have no idea. It could be anything, but I've never really gave it a thought as to why they did that. But I've noticed it. I never really thought about how they do that. But anyway, we'll be continuing on that. Spring training, by the way, I've been trying to do a spring training preview on the show. And so far, I saw a posting the other day on Facebook, I think it was, where pitchers and catchers are reporting. But I don't know. They kind of led it to a way of saying that the spring training isn't starting till for another couple weeks yet. So, don't know if anybody knows. Let me know. Love to be on top of that very quickly. All right.
Nationwide weather update. This is GJRB's Weather on the Fly.
And we're getting to about 5 minutes before the hour of 4 o'clock Central Standard Time. You're listening to Gary J's Sports Page on GJRB online on Spreaker across America. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying the show wherever you're listening today. Let's take a look at some of the national weather temperatures across America. Then we have a special weather statement here in Clinton, Iowa. We're going to take a look at that coming up next. Los Angeles, California, checking in at 69 degrees under sunny skies. Des Moines, Iowa, halfway across the state, 36 degrees with cloudy skies. It's snowing here in Clinton, and it is 33 degrees. Paducah, Kentucky, 39 degrees and rain. Houston, Texas, 54 degrees and cloudy. Over in Fairbanks, Alaska, 3 degrees below zero is reported there. Let's take a look at other places across the country. Salem, Massachusetts, 42 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Dallas, Texas is 50, cloudy skies. Las Vegas, Nevada, 61 degrees and sunny. Port St. Lucie, Florida, 84 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Truckee, California, 51 degrees with fair skies, and it's 50 degrees under cloudy skies over in Lebanon, Tennessee, which I don't know exactly where that is. I'm going to have to look that one up. Lebanon, Tennessee, wherever that is. Let's see. Going up the page a little bit, let's take a look at our hometown of Ambridge, where I'm from, Pennsylvania. 35 degrees is the temperature there. Montana, North Carolina is checking in at 51 degrees under cloudy skies. Omaha, Nebraska is 40 degrees, and they've got some rain showers in Omaha right now. Getting up the state there. So we'll take a look at our weather on the fives coming again next hour. We'll take the next 30 minutes. We'll take a break and drop into our friends at Weather Nation and see what your weather is going to be for different parts of the country right here on GJRB Online. Weather on the fives. 25 and 55 past the hour on all music on most talk shows, including this one, the Gary Russin program, and Way Out There, all coming up on GJRB Online, or any time of the hour it ends in 5, 15, 25, 35, 45, or 55 past the hour, right here on GJRB. Got some more of the Gary J Sports Page for you. Hope you're enjoying the program wherever you're listening to on the GJRB Online Network.
GJRB, Bluegrass with the Rascals, Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys, and so much more. So it's time to bring it back, and on more often. It's Bluegrass Jubilee Freestyle, with all the great songs you heard before, and some new up-and-coming stars with some emerging bluegrass. Also, some all-time gospel favorites, too.
On GJRB.
The blues. The primary start to rock and roll music. The music in which artists express their feelings through music. This is a new blues show featuring the best of the blues, with new emerging artists getting their thrill of hearing their selections played along with the greats like Muddy Waters, B.B. King, and Etta James, along with a whole lot more.
The doors open soon.
To the Blues House on GJRB. End times are upon us, and we need to know what's happening. Knowing the truth is key to survival. There are lots of news events going on in the world that have certain significance to end time happenings. Listen, as men and women gather to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy on the last 7 days. Uploaded as a podcast Wednesdays and run live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB.
Recently, the owner of Facebook had to face Congress over personal information on Facebook users. In addition, users were saying that their postings were being deleted. Getting sick and tired of your censorship and your data being used without your permission? Do something about it now. Come to MeWe, the internet social site that values your freedom. No more deleted postings. Make a step to freedom. Sign up today. It's easy. Go to www.mewe.com. That's MEWE. MeWe, the internet's free speech social site. And boy, I love that site too. That's another great site. We're going to be posting there in a few minutes because I usually post over there as well. MeWe's fabulous. And they got a football chat room there. I haven't really checked it out. Speaking of football, XFL, we're going to talk about that coming up next hour. That's another interesting thing we're going to get into. Anyway, thanks a lot for tuning into the show. It's 4 o'clock Central Standard Time right now. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. And this is the Gary J Sports Page.
From Clinton, Iowa, on Spreaker. This is GJR Broadcasting. GJRB.
A GJRB Sports Page Update starts now.
And we're talking a lot about some of the sports here. Nate Diaz is going to sue Miami Herald over a retracted domestic violence case. We're going to talk about that coming up. NFL reinstating defensive end Myles Garrett. We're going to talk about that coming up. Suspended for swinging a helmet to Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph. Talk about that because that's pretty interesting. And then let's see, we got Houston going to be playing. We have Houston. They're playing basketball tonight. Let's see. These are all, I think, college games. We'll talk about them here in a few minutes. Marquette, Alabama against Auburn. Some of the games coming up tonight. We'll take a look at all the sports scores and stuff coming up next as you, Gary J Sports Page on GJRB Online here on Spreaker. And of course, we usually do 2 minutes of a sports page update with a half hour, 1 minute. But since we're doing sports news, commentary, and stuff like that, and it's kind of a laid-back show, and since I don't really have a printer yet, I'm kind of not doing the sports cast the way I usually do it, like a sports talk show. I'm working on that. I'm listening to other sports talk shows and the sports ESPN radio and kind of learning how they do it and trying to not mimic it that much, but kind of like trying to do that kind of format. And it's taken a little bit of work to the format, but right now it takes practice, and I'm not very good at it yet. And that's because I don't have the stories in front of me, and it's hard to work my phone and be able to do it that fast. And it needs more prep as well to be able to come up with a story back to back to back to back with voice track, with maybe with sound bites, and be able to do that like I do my news when I do the Gear Wrestling program. So it takes a lot of practice to do that. And I haven't really mastered it yet until because I had to practice for a while. I was doing real good one that I dropped off. So it takes practice to be able to really put together a new program like that and be able to do rapid fire news stories back to back to back to back to back to back to back. It takes work to do that. So I don't know. It's something I have to work with, and I have to practice it. So it's just going to be something that I'm going to work on, and I'll be doing that as I continue to pick up and do better sports shows, and be able to do better sports prep, and have my stories in front of me printed. That's the only way it's ever going to work the way I wanted it to work, and it has to be where I have in the sportscast form, so that all my sound bites are in order. It's just the only way. So otherwise, at least when I do these shows on Wednesdays, it's going to be a new format. It's not going to be the way I used to do it on Saturdays a long time ago. Because when I did it on Saturdays a long time ago, I had that pretty well tight. But I can't really do a tight show without print. So until I get printer ink, that's the way it's going to go. And I like doing it this way anyway. So this is going to be the newer format of this talk show. To be able to have all my news stories in front of me and be able to do it. But usually Wednesday's Gary Wrestling Program Midweek Edition, it's basically news and comment throughout the show anyway. So it's kind of a leisure laid-back thing, semi-freestyle like a Friday show. A little bit tight, a little bit loose. as I always say, a little bit tight, a little bit loose, and that's what we're doing right now. Let's continue on with our sports page update here. Let's continue doing our sports page news and casual sports conversation. You're welcome to be on the show, and I usually should put that in because I have my music stuff up still, and I didn't get a chance to flip over to my regular opening stuff, so I need to pop that in and get my, where I put that, stuff I usually use. It would fall under the Garyj Wrestling program, and that's usually like my, let's see, I'm going to go to the Garyj Wrestling program. Okay. Sometimes I have to, my shortcut page, sometimes I have to, revamp my and delete all my shortcuts. I think I need to do that once a month in order for it to work right. And then like I said, I'm going to have to clean this computer a little bit. So I'll have to do that towards the next show. I'm going to be on the air again on Friday for music, including good time oldies and crooners, and then radio, television, and movie classics, a special edition coming up on Friday, as I'll be doing a dedication to Kirk Douglas. I know we just lost him at the age of 103. Absolutely fabulous actor. Did a lot of great movies, including Spartacus. Really good actor, and we're going to do a little piece on Kirk Douglas. I'm working on something there. And also be working on some other stuff for future shows. I've got a few ideas one to work on, and I'm going to do on my radio, television, and movie classics. I've got some TV guide pages, and I've got a few of them. I think I got one for a most recent one going back to like the 1965, I believe. I have a TV guide page from 1965 I'm going to read. I've got a few other really good ones coming up. So you're going to want to tune into that show and listen to that. So that's coming up. And, just that. And let's see what else we got here. I like to, anyhow, whenever I get disturbed during my show, and we have people talking and all that other stuff, I sometimes will play this. Yeah. Anyway, so we're on the air here at Garyj Wrestling Program on next week. Next week, I'll tell you my program schedule coming up a little later on. I usually post after each show, but I just posted after yesterday's program, and that's still up on my Facebook page if you want to get on that. Garyj.Wrestling on in the chat room there. And let's see. Don't know. Didn't get a response there, so I'm going to kind of cut that off and maybe even decide to close off that particular part of my show, because I really don't get calls on my show seriously on my Skype. I really don't, because for any intentional reasons, it's because I'm getting too much attention from other women, and right now I just think I'm going to deactivate my Skype right this time. So anybody who wants to get a hold of me for the talk show, Garyj J Sports Page, you can get a hold of me through through Spreaker. Through the Spreaker chat room. So if you want to get in on the act, you can go there. If you're a friend of mine on Facebook, Garyj John Wrestling on Facebook, you can get into the messenger and call the show there and talk about sports that way. And of course, like I said before, after the show's even off the air and you're listening on demand, you can still post a comment, because I always welcome that, even when we're off the air. So there you go. Meanwhile, let's get back into it. NFL reinstates Browns defensive end. We got that coming up. Let's see. Well, we just finished up that one. Let's talk about Nate Diaz. He's a UFC star. was considering a legal action against a newspaper over a false story about domestic violence. Nate Diaz suing the Miami Herald over a retracted domestic violence story. Diaz is considered legal action over a false story in which he was published later, retracting it from the Miami Herald. Story published in the Herald website on their website Wednesday. Richard reported that Diaz had been arrested in Miami after a domestic violence incident and had been hospitalized after attacking several police officers while he was being apprehended. The story spread on social media like wildfire, which is how Diaz and his publicist Zach Rosenfield found out about it. Shortly after that, though, the story was published. Rosenfield told MMA Junkie that it was unequivocally false. The story was 100% and unequivocally inaccurate. This is according to Rosenfield. Nate stated that in Stockton since Tuesday, after the Super Bowl was held back on February 2nd in Miami Gardens, that there was no possible way what was being reported and was retaliable to him. At no point did Nate have any interaction with Miami law enforcement. Zero issues whatsoever. And he's never been attached to anything close to domestic violence in his life. It turned out Diaz was not in Miami and hadn't been in weeks, so he couldn't have been the one arrested. The man arrested was an MMA fighter, 31-year-old Michael Albert Nates. 31-year-old MMA's fighter, 31-year-old Michael Albert Nates. So the name Nates, Nates, which is what got him confused, I think. The name Nates, Nates. So they got this Nates mixed up with this Michael Albert Nates with Nate Diaz. So the newspaper decided they were going to print this story even though it was the wrong person. Again, didn't check their facts, did they? It just tease. It takes a genius to do that. Check their facts. Seems like it. This is the kind of media we have here, folks. And I got to tell you, if you don't check your facts correctly, it could get you into big trouble. This guy, obviously, this reporter for that newspaper, didn't look to see who it actually was that got arrested by the Miami Police Department. And it wasn't Nate Diaz. They should have looked a little closer at the name of the person who was arrested, because they would have it in the police records. Folks, wake up, Well, I mean, come on now. Anyway, according to MMA Junkie, the Herald deleted the original story, and it was republished an update version, which included several notes about the original incorrect reporting of the Herald, who also tweeted about the error. So this was an error. It was a martial arts fighter who was hospitalized after attacking Miami cops during an arrest, according to a Miami Herald developing story. Correction. Total MMA fighter hospitalized after police took him into custody. Miami Herald posted on Twitter, note, the initial version of this story, the Miami Herald incorrectly reported the mixed martial arts superstar with Nate Diaz, who had been arrested on a domestic violence case. The Herald apologized for the error. The retraction of the additional updates clarified the situation and made it clear that Diaz was nothing to do with the domestic violence incident, but Rosenfield told MMA Junkie that Diaz was considering suing the paper for defamation. This whole thing is utterly irresponsible, and we are exploring legal action, according to Rosenfeld. So the paper will, even though they retracted the story, they're still going to sue the paper. So, again, even though they retracted the story, they wanted to get their money's worth out of this whole thing. Whatever trauma was involved in it, whatever trauma was caused by it. I mean, I guess he would have a good reason to file a lawsuit. I would think. After all, it was a dumb move on the paper's part, and the paper should have been paying more closely attention to the police blotter in that paper in the Miami Herald. Should have been taking a look at the police blotter before reporting that story. See, that, it would make more sense. As a journalist, I would say that makes a lot more sense. Your comments are welcome. It's Gary J. Sports Page on GJRB online on Spreaker across the USA. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Gary J. Sports Page, which will be heard alternating weeks, every other week, weeks 2 and week 4 on GJRB online on Wednesday afternoon, 3 to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. That would be 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern, and 1 to 4 p.m. Pacific Time. Right here on GJRB Online, here on Spreaker. And glad to be here. And glad to do the show. And always glad to bring you programming here on Spreaker on GJRB. Live radio, because I believe in doing radio live. I was, again, talking about this the other day. Yeah, I'm going to voice track crooners. Yeah, I voice track some of my shows only because I have a lot going on and I'm busy. I got a lot of things while I'm off the air. I do voice tracking and automation, but I still like to be on live and do live interaction with my audience. I believe in it. I still like to do live radio. I'm not like this terrestrial radio that, the personality just goes in and does this voice tracking. I mean, come on. Nothing like sitting in the booth for a few hours and talking and playing music, I still believe in live radio. I just do. You have to interact with your radio audience. Just have to. It's just, what fun is radio if you don't interact with your audience, if you're not in behind the microphone, and you're not live? Anybody can go in there and do a voice track and pre-record all their stuff. And, I'm doing that now, and I'm seeing where it is getting a little complicated because you're up against time. And you have to make it sound like you're live. But I don't know. It just is a form of cheating to me for some reason. I just, you go in there and you do a show in the studio. You go into a booth and you do your radio show. It's got to be live sometimes, man. It's just the interaction between you and your audience is just that important. That's just how I see it. I don't know about you, but that's me. Maybe it's me. But I just stand behind that, totally 100%. You got to do that. The audience is just that important. The people, even though I don't get much listeners on my radio shows anyway here on Spreaker. I get people dropping in and out. We had Debbie Scott at the beginning of the show. I'm so sad to hear her husband died. I like John. He did a great show, and it's sorely missed. And I ran it. I confession to make. I ran the Debbie Scott Network on my 9-foot closed circuit FM signal, right here on my 9-foot closed circuit, Spreaker FM 88.9, and I carried their program on my on my closed circuit FM right after my show a lot of the times. It's just, I'm sad to hear of the loss of her husband. Good grief. That's a bummer. It really is. I really feel bad that she lost her husband, because I know they went off Spreaker because of the fact that they dropped the Spreaker web-based console. And then we didn't hear from her for a long, long time, and I still follow her on Spreaker. And I'm sure they have a lot of their shows still on there. Debbie, if you're still listening, you should do a retrospective tribute to him in a radio show. That'd be neat. I'd listen to that. That would be neat. Let's see, what got coming up? 20 minutes after 4 o'clock Central Standard Time, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. You're listening to GJRB Online on Spreaker. I'm Gary J. Russin, and I am going down here looking for my sports page, because I'm looking for my sports page theme, which I was trying to do is get that up on the player so that I can loop it, because I didn't get time to do that before I went on the air, and that's what I'm looking for right now. Sports page. Where the heck is that dumb thing? Here it is. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Drive through. I think that's the loop version. Yes, it is. It surely is. It's the looped version, which I really should have put it on the other side, because that's in my local spot break. Okay, I'm going to have to do that on the other side. Let's take that off. I'll put it on the other side. Okay, let me see. I'm going to put that on the other side. Here it is. I should put that over there. Okay, that's where it belongs. All right. Alrighty then. I'm going to give you some scores and stuff here. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. I don't know. No, they changed this. I like this virtual DJ. It's cool, and as a matter of fact, I can even broadcast with it. But on Spreaker, I can't. I think it has to do with licensing or something like that. So I really can't use it. I love to use it on Spreaker. I actually like to use it on my Podbean. That would be absolutely incredible if I could use this on Podbean, because it would be just so cool to be able to. So I don't know. I'm gonna see what. Is there a looping? There used to be a looping button on the old on the old console on this thing, and I don't see a looping button. Is there a looping button on there anymore? Samplers, bar card, rolls. I don't see a looping button. I thought they used to have one on here. Well, whatever the case, they used to have a looping button. But anyway, I guess we'll just have to do it that way and let it go. And then just see if I'll try something later. Hey, why don't we just do it this way? I'm going to go ahead and because we're going to be taking a hard break anyway. Weather on the 5's coming up. Let me see. I got to go to I don't have my Weather Nation ready either. Holy cow. And it's probably up to that time now. Oh, come on. Okay, Gary, you need to get your act together, sir. Let's see if we can pop back into the Weather Nation and see if we can get in on time. I'm not saying whether or not we can. Let's see. I'm going to pop into that and see where they're at on Weather Nation. Let's see. It takes forever to get in here. I should have had that ready like about 10 minutes ago. And they're probably already into the weather. So in that case, I think I'll just go ahead and skip that. And we'll just do one of those, let's see. It takes forever for that to come up. Good grief. Come on, hurry up. Jeez. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's they've already done it. So we'll just go ahead and we'll do it next hour. And then we'll move Clinton's weather back to about 5 minutes to 5. We'll do it that way. So why don't we do that? We'll do our sports page. Meanwhile, let's you're listening to Gary J's Sports Page, and I do that quite a bit when I'm on the air. If I screw up, and I usually do, and I don't have something ready, then what I'll do, and of course this is a freestyle show, so I do weather on the 5 anytime it ends in the hour of 5, and anytime in the 5. So this weather on the 5s, I'm just going to do some temperatures and stuff from various cities. And then we'll do weather on the 5s with Weather Nation at 25 after 5. Okay, so we'll move the Clinton weather forecast to 4:55. We'll do it that way. So let's just
nationwide weather update. This is GJRB's Weather on the 5s.
And let's do that right now. Let's take a look at what we got here. Weather on the 5s here on GJRB Online. Take a look at some of the nighttime temperatures across the nation right now. Jacksonville, Florida right now. Taking a look at Jacksonville. Oh, yeah, they are nice now. Barometric pressure, 30.02 inches of mercury. It's going to be 66 degrees tonight in Jacksonville, Florida. Tomorrow, 84 degrees, 59 degrees tomorrow night. And in Jacksonville, Florida is expecting to be 84 tomorrow. 33 for Kansas City, it's a chance of snow. And your dew point right now is 31 degrees. Relative humidity, 92%. Your barometric pressure, 29.87 inches of mercury. And your winds out of the north-northwest at 5 miles per hour in Kansas City at this time. 6 degrees expected tonight. Tomorrow only 17. So you're under our freeze zone. 17 degrees for tomorrow and sunny in Kansas. And that's all under this cold condition they got going on right now. We've got a cold freeze going through. Las Vegas, Nevada is going to be 59. I wish we was down there. Right now, 5 mile per hour winds. And 64 expected today, 38 tonight, 64 again tomorrow, 64 Thursday, February 13th, my birthday, 69 for Los Angeles, California, 68 feels like, dew point 48, 47% relative humidity. Los Angeles, 68 degrees today. Nighttime low tonight, 49 degrees. Tomorrow it'll be 70 degrees under sunny skies. And we'll have another weather update coming up next hour in about 30 minutes. Weather on the 5s, 25 and 55 minutes past the hour on talk shows, 25, 45 and some music shows, including Gary J's Good Times, Great Oldie Show. We might be doing an oldie show on Friday morning, possibly. The TBD on that, though, to be decided. Because I'm not sure whether I'm going to do that show or not. It just depends on things, whether or not I'll do that show. But it might look to be, we might be doing it. Let's just see how that goes. And then, of course, I'm going to have crooners. That's going to be on the air. We're going to do crooners. And then right after that, Gary J's radio, television, and movie classics. And we got a good show. So you want to tune in for that. That's on Friday, right here on GJRB Online, 3 o'clock Central Standard Time, and 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, right here on Spreaker. Here on GJRB Online, and you want to tune in. It's going to be a good show. Taking Saturday off. Now, we usually do the Valentine's thing. I'm not sure we're going to do it or not, but regardless, I'm still going to take Saturday off while I work on some programming and stuff. And so there will be no show on Saturday. We'll be off the air Saturday, back on the air again, possibly Sunday, with our Christian rock, positive rock show. Okay, so just to let you know about that. And you're listening to Gary J Sports Page on GJRB Online. Thanks a lot for tuning in to the program. Thanks a lot for joining me for some great sports.
GJRB Sports Page update starts now.
And we'll give you the scores coming up of, or rather not the scores, but some of the games coming up in the NBA tonight. Meanwhile, we'll talk about some more stuff on our sports page show, so stay tuned for that. We'll have a lot more going on And so stay with me. Gary J Sports Page on GJRB Online. And coming up in the next half hour, we'll do 50 minutes of non-stop sports talk right here on GJRB Online. Complete look at non-stop sports. So you want to tune in for that. And we'll give you all our score. We'll give you all what's going on in the NBA college action as well. And talk about, spring training. We'll be checking all that coming up this next half hour on Sports Page on GJRB Online. I'm Gary J. Russin on the GJRB Online Network, and we will be right back.
America's street music is back on GJRB Bluegrass with the Grass Golds, Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys, and so much more. So it's time to bring it back, and on more often. It's Bluegrass Jubilee Freestyle, with all the great songs you heard before, and some new up-and-coming stars with some emerging bluegrass. Also, some all-time gospel favorites too.
On GJRB. And this is GJRB Online on Spreaker. I'm Gary J. Russin. We'll be right back with more of Gary J. Sports Page right after this break.
The primary start to rock and roll music. The music in which artists express their feelings through music. This is a new blues show featuring the best of the blues, with new emerging artists getting their thrill of hearing their selections played along with the greats like Muddy Waters, B.B. King, and Etta James, along with a whole lot more.
The doors open soon.
To the Blues House on GJRB. End times are upon us, and we need to know what's happening. Knowing the truth is key to survival. There are lots of news events going on in the world that have certain significance to end time happenings. Listen, as men and women gather to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy on the last 7 days. Uploaded as a podcast Wednesdays and run live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB. Recently, the owner of Facebook had to face Congress over personal information on Facebook users. In addition, users were saying that their postings were being deleted. Getting sick and tired of your censorship and your data being used without your permission?
Do something about it now. Come to MeWe, the internet social site that values your freedom. No more deleted postings. Make a step to freedom. Sign up today. It's easy. Go to www.mewe.com. That's M-E-W-E. MeWe, the internet's free speech social site. From Clinton, Iowa, on Spreaker, this is GJR Broadcasting. GJRB. And back on the air, Gary J Sports Page on GJRB Online on Spreaker, starting off 50 minutes of non-stop talk about sports. 50 straight minutes all the way through right here on GJRB Online. We'll talk more sports news and get into a lot of other stuff that I was going to be talking about, including the fact that I was trying to watch pro bowling. I haven't done that yet. And there has been a few on the PBA on ESPN. Just haven't got around to watching that yet. Another one is, of course, I was talking about wrestling earlier. And I haven't really had a chance to catch that either yet too much. So we're going to maybe get into a lot of that later. And anybody who's been watching those, get a hold of me and we'll talk about that. Meanwhile, though, let's see what we've got here. We're doing live here, Gary J. Russin on GJRB Online on Spreaker across America and around the world. This is the Gary J. Sports Page and GJRB Online. And, earlier I was trying to do a 15-minute preview, but I should have done that like at 1 o'clock. It was one of those days where I started late. And things just didn't really work out like I planned. But I'm working on getting to a point where I'd be up early in the morning on those days. Because, doing radio, even late in the day, means it takes a lot of prep. And that means it's time to start early and not doing that. And that's why I'm kind of sliding on ice here. So it's just that simple. Trying to work on that. So we'll get into that. Meanwhile, let's see what we've got here. Let's take a look at the NBA. Coming games tonight. Atlanta Hawks are going to play Cleveland Cavaliers tonight at 6 o'clock. These are some of the games that start at 6 o'clock in the NBA. Cleveland Cavaliers against Atlanta Hawks. Detroit Pistons are going to play the Orlando Magic. Milwaukee Bucks are going to play Indiana Pacers. That's at 6:30. These are 6:30 games. Toronto Raptors against the Brooklyn Nets. So they call themselves now. Washington Wizards are up against the New York Knicks. And we go to 7 o'clock. Those games are Charlotte Hornets going to play against Minnesota Timberwolves. We have Portland Trailblazers going to take on Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis. Sacramento. These are 7:30. Sacramento Kings are going to play Dallas Mavericks. And the Golden State Warriors are on at 8 o'clock. They're going to play at 8 o'clock against Phoenix Suns. Those are the games tonight in the NBA. Later on at 8 o'clock, also at 8 o'clock, Miami Heat against the Utah Jazz. And at 9 o'clock, Los Angeles Lakers will play the Denver Nuggets. That's the games tonight in the NBA. No games playing right now, so when there's no games playing during our show, we do not do sports scores every 10 minutes. It would be obvious, won't it? So coming up, I think on this half of the show with 50 minutes of nonstop talk, we're going to start dealing with some of the other stuff I want to talk about, and that's some of the preseason baseball, which I want to get into. I want to do some research on that while I'm on the air here, so I'm going to do something that I usually do when I do this program. As a talk show, Gary Russin program. Sometimes even sports talk, even any of my talk shows, if I need it, I do play music to kind of fill the void. I will put on a song. to kind of break the monotony a little bit, to kind of give me a break so that I can look up something, or give me a break so that I can do something else, and then I'll just kind of throw in some music. Because, when you really think about it, listen to a ball game once in a while. What do you hear in the stadium? Some pop music, right? Sure do. Yeah, you hear that in the stadiums quite a bit, don't you? You hear some pop music. So I thought, well, we'll take a break here and play a little tune, and I'm going to look up some spring training stuff. So here is one of my favorites, and a favorite of my good friend Blake Myers. Yeah, Green Onions. Booker T and the MGs on GJRB Sports Page. Booker T and the MGs on GJRB Online on the Gary J Sports Page, and Green Onions, great classic. And I'm Gary J. Russell. Happy to join the program wherever you're listening across America. And yeah, we play music as well on most shows. Most of my talk shows, all Gary Wrestling programs. We do 50 minutes of nonstop talking music. And then, it doesn't matter if I'm doing sports or way out there talking about aliens, UFOs, and Bigfoot or anything else. I still like to throw in music in there just to take a break. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm a different show than most. And since I do this show most of the time alone, and with no listeners, I sometimes like to take a break and just throw a song in just to break the monotony a little bit. I found some, I don't know if these are games, these must be games. Because spring training must have already started for a lot of these teams. Friday, February 21st, Rangers will play the Royals at 2:05. Saturday, February 22nd, which is next week. So I think, and I know I saw something on Facebook with the Cubs that the catchers and the pitchers were scheduled to report. So so I guess a lot of them are already in their respective spring training camps already. Next Saturday, Orioles are going to play the Braves at 12:05. Let's see what we have here. The Mets, New York Mets are going to play the Cardinals, 12:05. Phillies are going to play the Tigers This is all 12:05 games on Saturday, February 22nd. Marlins are going to play the Mets, 12:10. 2:05 game will be Brewers against the Rangers. Dodgers will play the Giants. At 2:10, it's Marlins against the Padres. And the Diamondbacks are going to play the Rockies. That's at 2:10. And let's see what we have here. This is probably all National League. This looks like it's all American League on this side. Blue Jays are going to play the Twins. That's at 12:05. This is all American League, it looks like. Yankees play the Devil Rays. That's at 12:05 on February 23rd. That's Sunday, February 23rd. Tigers will play the Braves, 12:05 on that day. As well as the Tigers playing the Pittsburgh Pirates, 12:05 p.m. Cardinals are going to play the Mets, 2:23, February 23rd, 12:10 p.m. against the Mets. White Sox are going to play the Reds. That'll be a 2:05 game on February 23rd. Padres against the Brewers. That'll be, all these games are all February 23rd, 2:05. Okay? So we go to February 23rd, 2:10. The Rockies are going to play the Angels. Rangers will play the Mariners. And let's see, we go down the page here. This is like Monday, February 24th. Mets will play the Nationals. Astros will play the Tigers. Red Sox are going to play the Twins. Braves against the Blue Jays. Angels against the Brewers. Athletics, Oakland Athletics. These are all spring training games, February 24th, 2:05. Brewers will play the Athletics. Padres are going to play the Royals. And then we have the Chicago Cubs. Monday, February 24th. At 2:10 p.m., the Cubs are going to play the Mariners. So I wonder if that's going to be a radio game. I'll have to check with our station for the Cubs. The Cubs outlet, the Cubs flagship, 670 The Score in Chicago. Let's see if they're going to have that game on the radio. And I usually carry it on my 9-foot signal. A lot of affiliated stations of the Cubs don't really play the Cubs games until the season starts. But I'm one of those that likes to carry the spring training games. So I do carry those on my 9-foot closed circuit signal here on 107.9, Talk FM 108. I'll take a look and check for Monday, February 24th to see if there's a game on at 2:10 on the Cubs radio network, WSCR 670 The Score. I'll check that on them for that game on February 24th at 2:10. And if they're going to have a game on, I will carry it on my local side on Talk FM 108. Spring training, let's see, February 25th, Pirates in the Phillies. That's Tuesday. Twins will play the Braves, the Nationals against the Cardinals. We have 12:05 game there. These are all 12:05 starts. Marlins will play the Astros, Yankees against the Blue Jays. That's 12:07. 2:05, it'll be Rockies against the Cubs again. That'll be Tuesday. And then the Giants will play the White Sox. Dodgers against the Diamondbacks. And let's see, 2:25, February 25th, the Reds will play the Angels. Nationals, and then let's go to spring training Wednesday, February 26th. And we have the Nationals against the Yankees. Okay, these are 12:05 games. The Cardinals will play the Astros. Red Sox will play the Pirates. And let's see, Twins against the Rays. Astros will play the Mets. And then we have, these are 2:05. Let's see, go back. The Astros Mets for a minute. Okay, that was 12:10. Okay, 12:10. Then we go to 12:10. That's 12:10 game. Astros against the Mets. Then 2:05, Brewers against the Giants. White Sox will play the Royals. and the Diamondbacks will play against the Athletics. So we got a few of those games. Now you can get this by going to MLB.com, www.mlb.com / and it's under the search. So let's say go to MLB.com, and you should be able to see the rundown of the preseason baseball games and what time they start. MLB.com. www.mlb.com. You'll find the scores probably there. And you'll probably find where you can the games. And I'm going to check to see with 670 the score, WSCR Chicago, to see if they're going to be carrying that game, and it will have it probably on my closed circuit signal, 107.9, and probably here on Spreaker in private. So if you are a friend of mine on Facebook and you are a friend of mine and you follow me on Spreaker, you might be able to get the game by request if you send me something on my Spreaker. Okay, so just go into my Spreaker and in my chat room and in the chat room show and say I would like to be able to listen to the game on your station, and I will send you the podcast in private. Okay, I don't broadcast in public because again, violating any copyright, anything from the MLB or the Cubs, and that's really falls under that probably any broadcast use without the written permission of the MLB is a prohibited kind of thing. So I could send something. I could send a request into the MLB and say I am a on-air reporter. I do a Spreaker. I'm on Spreaker. I'm on the internet. I do a sports talk show. Could I get permission to play clips of the games on my show and see what they say? If not, I won't do it because I'm, even though I do play, copyrighted songs, I'm kind of like in the middle there. I'm kind of riding the fence, so to speak, when it comes to playing stuff on the air. But, like I said before, it's because I don't really get that much of an audience on a live show. And just that. So, let's just see what happens. I'm going to post around again in the final hour of our show and see if we can get some listeners. Kind of dead right now, as usual. Just that simple. I was going to do, and it's already 4:52. Let me see where they're at on the side of... okay, they're talking there, so I must have missed that. Okay, I don't know if I'll get Nation at all. So we're going to do it at 25 after. We'll do it at 25 after 5:25, Weather on the 5s will be Weather Nation, okay? I think that would be a better place to put that anyway. I'm going to think about moving that anyway. I was doing it in the middle hour, but I'm thinking, with the fact that I don't do a hard break with national news at 5:30, usually I don't. My last hour, I don't do a hard break with local on my 9-foot signal. I stay on and do a hard break here with just my Spreaker promos. I don't. So I'm going to change it. I'm moving my Weather Nation weather forecast to 5:25 Central Standard on pretty much all my shows. So if you hear Weather Nation, you will not hear Weather Nation until my last hour of any of my shows. I was doing Weather Nation middle hour, but I think I'm going to move it to the last hour because I think it would be better to do it that way because usually I like to, those first 2 hours are usually local hard breaks. So I usually will do a local hard break at the half hour mark. Or what I'll do is I'll move it up to 5:15. I'll do it that way. I'll move it up to 5:15. But since we're doing 50 minutes of nonstop talk this time round, nonstop sports talk this time round, what I'll do is I'll just do it at 25 after today. But we're going to change things around. If I do a 50 minutes of nonstop talk and music, I'm going to make it 50. I'll have to start the 50 minutes of nonstop talk and music and stuff at around 25. Start about 25 after the hour, right after that hard break. So I'm going to say, goodness, I'd say about 2015. Yeah, 25 after. We would have to start the 50 minutes at 25 after the hour, and that's usually when I do the hard break. So I'm going to keep it at that, but it's going to be a shorter. It'll be 50 minutes. Now, what I mean by 50 minutes, that means total nonstop without talking, straight through with no break. But sometimes I'll insert a break. So that would be like 30 minutes plus a break plus 10 more minutes. Still be 50. So in that case, I would do the break anyway, and then do 30, and then do 30, and then 30. Yeah, about 40 for break, and then maybe 5 more minutes before we take the hard break at the 4:30 mark. Yeah, the 5:30 mark. So either way, okay. All right, you're listening to Gary J. Yeah, I know you're going, what the heck is he talking about, man? Anyway, you're listening to Gary J. Rusty here. You're listening to the Sports Page, and this is GJRB Online, and we were... Okay, when I do that, let me see where I want to bring that just a little bit on the board here. And...
Nationwide weather update. This is GJRB's weather
on the 5. Yeah. So why don't we do weather on the 5s for Clinton, Iowa now, and there's a special weather statement. Now, I was looking at the weather, watched the snow earlier, and boy, it was coming down. There has been a difference in the snow. Now, I'm looking at the radar at this hour for Clinton, and it's looking like, oh boy, we are covered in blue. Snow has spread northward now along the Interstate 80 corridor at about 2 o'clock this afternoon. Moderate snow falling along the Interstate corridor. Interstate 80 corridor will lead to a sudden reductions in visibility and roads becoming very slick, quickly snow-covered, slippery. So use caution while driving this evening going home. If you're driving along and you're just coming home from work, caution driving. If you're listening to this in Clinton and you're listening to this on your phone in Clinton and you happen to be driving home, be careful. No texting and driving either. I've been kind of getting irritated. My friend of mine the other day, we were riding with him, and we almost got hit because of some idiot using their phone and driving. Just getting under my skin. Why can't people just put their freaking phone down for about maybe just till they get home? What is this hurry that I always text and drive? What is up with that? I tell you, I just get so aggravated with these people. Seriously. I mean, there's no need for it. 31 degrees currently right now. Feels like 31. You have winds coming out of the southwest at 2 miles per hour, gusting to 3. Our relative humidity is at 97%. 31 on the dew point, and we only have 4-mile visibility. I can see across the way. Anyway, 4-mile visibility. Barometric pressure 29.89 inches of mercury. We have a 0%. Snow is going to continue. Again, a 60% chance of precipitation tonight. Variable cloudiness with snow showers, low around 11, with winds coming out of the west-northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour, and you'll have a chance of snow at 50%. 50% chance of snow. Or 60, actually. 60%. Boy, am I reading this wrong today. Well, accumulation 1 to 3 inches or higher with gust possible. 10% chance of precipitation tomorrow, though. Cloudy skies, and it will be becoming partly cloudy later in the day. Morning high will be 16. Morning highs can only be 16 degrees with temperatures falling to the single digits with winds out of the northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. 0% chance of precipitation, but bitter cold tomorrow night. Mostly clear skies, though, with a low of 7 degrees below zero, with west-northwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. But there's going to be an improvement on our weather as the week goes on. As a matter of fact, looking at our 10-day forecast, but before we do that, and we get back into the Sports Page final hour, we're going to do our significant ID that we usually do. It's time for station identification. This is Gary J. Sports Page. It's 5 o'clock Central Standard Time, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, and 3 o'clock Pacific on the GJRB Online Network.
This is the GJRB Online Network.
Didn't I say that? Didn't I? I think I did. Yeah, I did. I did say that. GJRB Online Network. I'm Gary J. Russin.
This is the GJRB Online Network.
Again, 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. I'm Gary J. Russin. You're listening to the Gary J. Sports Page on the GJRB Online Network, Clinton, Iowa. 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific, 2 o'clock wherever. Actually, 4 o'clock Mountain. You know, I like NIST really did a good job, and they changed their site, and they got all the time zones up there. I should just go to that. It'll make it a lot easier if I just leave that page up, because I always forget, and I get mixed up when I tell my time. So let's do this again in the correct order, okay? It again is 5:01 Central Standard Time, 6:01 Eastern Standard Time, Mountain Standard Time 4:01, Pacific 3:01. It's 1:01 p.m. in the Aleutian Standard Time. In Alaska, it's 2:01 p.m. Alaska Standard Time. In Hawaii, it's 1:01 p.m. Hawaiian Standard Time. And you're listening to Gary J. Sports Page on GJRB Online on Spreaker. Thanks a lot for tuning in to the show. And we're in our last hour of the Sports Page. And we have about a little less than, 20 some odd minutes, about 20 minutes so of our nonstop talk. So we're just going to keep running on going here as we continue our Sports Page. We were doing the spring training schedule, and it looks pretty good for the Cubs, and I'm going to check with the WSCR, which is the Cubs flagship station for the Cubs games, and see when the games are going to be on, so that I can check it out. I'm going to have to go into the Cubs MLB schedule too for the radio schedule to see, because I do carry the games on my 9-foot closed circuit FM signal, because I do brag about it. I don't care. It's just a little puny little signal that only reaches within a 9-foot radius of our studios. So it doesn't do anybody harm, and it fades out when you leave the driveway anyhow. So hey, if you're in the neighborhood and you happen to be listening on your car radio, as soon as you pull out of here, it's gone. So just go to Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/520-525. Get your site. You can put on your favorites list on your phone, and you can listen to this show if you have enough data that you can listen to the show while you're driving. I know a few people that do that, including Ed Delgado, the Caramel Conservative. And I know he's listened to the show and many number of times while he's, driving to work or driving or doing something. Don't see him today. He was on early, and at the beginning of the show, at the starting gate, we had Debbie Scott joining the show, and she kind of left the show. That's... And again, condolences and comfort to the family Debbie Scott, and cover to her because her husband died on her birthday. That's sad. Good grief. And praying for that family, and that's a sad time for them. So we're just again pray for them, and things will look up. That's just that's sad. I'm so sorry, and I know that she loved them very much, and that's a sad shame. Really, I am so sorry to hear that. My goodness. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead now and go over to where we have it. Upcoming game: Texas Rangers against Kansas City. That'll be on February 21st at 2:05 p.m. That'll be probably the first preseason game registered. And like I said, I'll keep an eye open and take a look at WSCR's game schedule to see if the Cubs are going to be on the radio. We'll be taking a look at that. I'm hoping that they do. I really would that'd be great if we can get our first Cubs game on our closed circuit FM, and I'll do some promotions toward that too on my 9-foot side. All right, meanwhile, back in the jungle, let's take a look at some more sports and take a look at some of the stories I have from my Facebook page that I saved. So we're going to do that next in this hour. And a whole lot of other things in our final hour of the Gary J Sports page here on GJRB Online. The show's going to be on every 2 weeks here on GJRB Online, and we'll start that bit in February. The second and fourth week of the month will be Sports Page here on GJRB Online. So tune in for that. And of course, it kind of dwindles a little bit, especially if we have Cubs games on. If there's a game being played and the Cubs are on, especially during the season, that will probably preempt Sports Page in a lot of my shows. So sometimes you will not hear me if there is a game on. Ben Nussman likes some of my postings, but is he listening to the show? Yeah, that's a question. I need to get a hold of him because I'm hoping that I'm due for a Gary Wrestling Program Saturday Extra. And I'll have that aired on February 22nd. Okay, so like I said before, when there's spring training, I don't carry every game, but I do carry some of them. But on the 22nd, February 22nd, I will be doing a Gary Wrestling Program, and that will be over on our Spreaker FM 88.9 signal, and that will be Gary Wrestling Program Saturday Extra. So I'm seeing if Ben can be on the show, get a hold of him, and see if he's busy that Saturday, hoping that maybe perhaps he could be a guest on there again. I always look forward when we hear from Ben. Really, we haven't heard from him in a while. It's been a while since he's been on. I mean, really, it's been a while. But let's see what we got here. Well, we're going to check in at NCAA basketball here in just a little bit. Take a look at what games are coming up there, and get some NCAA news. And maybe do a little bit on bowling. I had an email on my side there on my email about PBA bowling going on over on ESPN, and I haven't had a chance to watch that yet. So I'm going to have to see if I can get into my Roku box and see if I can get ESPN or if I can get any on-demand bowling. I'm going to have to look. And perhaps some pro bowlers. I look forward to watching that. So I'm hoping maybe they would have that on. All right, let me see. I'm going to go now to, and I think I usually do this, I'm going to, what are we going to get here? What am I looking for? Okay, I think I wanted to go to my Facebook. That's where I was at. What am I doing? Sometimes my mind draws a blank. Does a good job too. Draws a blank and I can't see it. Let's see here. I'm going to go over some of the interesting news I want to talk about on my Gary Wrestling program next week, and also on my extra. Clark bars are returning to Pittsburgh. Oh, yeah. Now, that was one of my favorite candy bars, as a matter of fact. Clark bars are returning. They are coming back to the shelves. Keep an eye on it. It's for Valentine's Day. This Valentine's Day, which will be Friday. They're returning. And I don't know, they're not to do with sports, but being that I grew up in Pittsburgh, and Three Rivers, you could see the Clark Bar Factory from Three Rivers Stadium. I sit that point in Three Rivers Stadium at a Pirate baseball game when I was a kid, and you could see, I could look straight out there and see the Clark Bar sign. Yeah, right there, no joke, right from the baseball field. But they are returning to Pittsburgh just in time for Valentine's Day. The Pittsburgh Business Times reporter, CEO of Boyer Candy, says that Clark bars will be released to Pittsburgh this Friday. Pittsburgh Business reporter said this. Clark bars returning in a few months ago, but the Pittsburgh Business Times reports a packaging delay kept Clark bars at the company's factory outlet store. Clark bar originated in Pittsburgh in the 1800s and was a staple for over a century. Boyer purchased the candy bar factory back in 2018, about 2 years ago. So they are returning. Absolutely fabulous. And I was hoping maybe it would be released nationally. I just have to get my sister to send me some Clark bars in the mail. Yeah, I'm going to have to get a hold of her. Anyway, let's see what else do we have here. Let me see here. I'm going to go to sports. Let's see here. I'm going to go to my sports page here. What is that going down there? Yeah. All right, here we go. Residents of small Kansas town. Okay, is this sports? Yeah. Residents of a small Kansas town. Did you hear about this one? Actually, I got to talk about this for a few minutes because this is interesting. And I want to talk about this again on the Gary Wrestling program next week on the Saturday Extra and on the Gary Wrestling program midweek edition next Wednesday, because this is an interesting story. Residents in a small Kansas town was jailed for unpaid medical bills. Yeah. They were jailed over this. Unpaid medical bills. And we're going to talk about this on the Gary Wrestling program next week, because this is something that is very disturbing, to say the least. Residents of the small town, Coffeyville, Kansas. A couple there. Coffeyville, Kansas. Residents of a small town there. At the poverty rate as twice the national average, was being jailed after being jailed for their unpaid medical bills. Coffeyville, Kansas, 26.2% or more of the 9,700 people who live there below the poverty line, compared to the national average of 13.1%. And because of this issue, some residents there, like Tress Biggs, have found themselves working 2 jobs. Neither job offered the insurance, and they were unable to afford health care. Tress and his wife, Heather, said that they fell behind on their son's medical bills after he was diagnosed with leukemia. Disturbing. He had leukemia, folks. It could not pay his bills, so they were jailed. This is a kid that has cancer, for heaven's sakes. This is the lack of compassion in this country. They had so many multiple health issues in their family at the time. It puts us in the bracket of more insurance unattainable, according to Heather, who told the publication. It would have made no sense that we would have had to have not eaten, not had a home. Tress was arrested for the first time in 2008 after Coffeyville Regional Medical Center sued them in 2006 for $2,146. That bill stemmed from one of Heather's emergency room visits. Between both jobs, working 70 hours per week and taking their son to chemotherapy. And doing all that, he missed 2 court appearances over medical bills, and he said he was arrested for failing to appear in court. His bail set at $500. In jail. His kid has leukemia. Good grief. Where's the compassion in this world? Really? Jeez. Just can't believe this stuff. In jail. No wonder there is such wasted jail space. No wonder the jails are so crowded, because they're putting people in jail for stupid stuff. I'd escape. You better believe it, folks. You're listening to the Gary J Sports Page on GGRB Online on Spreaker across America. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the program so far. Hope you're enjoying it anyway. And thank you for tuning in. And I hope that you will join me for some great talk on many of GGRB shows. And I'll give you our program schedule for the coming week here in just a little bit. And we'll do a Spreaker shout-outs and promotions. Don't know if we'll get very far in some of the stories I had promised you, but we're going to get to some of them. Anyhow, let's see. There was one I wanted to talk about. I don't know if I could find it. I think it was regarding the Cubs. Now, David Ross is supposed to take over for he's going to be the new manager this year. So we're going to be watching some neat things happening. He'll be taking the helm. John Madden was out as manager, and I thought I had saved a story regarding that, where Madden talks about the reason, some of the events leading to him being let go and stuff, that I don't know what happened to it. I thought I saved that story, and apparently I must have not. So I don't know. The Cubs, though, begin extension. So let's talk about this instead. The Cubs discussing discussion on extensions with star slugger Javier Baez. The Cubs, in their eyes, set on locking up this star to a long-term deal that isn't, and it isn't Chris Bryant, at least not yet. The front office reportedly wants the star slugger Javier Baez, who they have been contract extension discussion in the early stages of the offseason. And I remember hearing that a while back. Among the best of the Cubs, many of the key players who are set free to hit free agency in the near future, starting with him isn't necessarily a bad idea, but former NLCS MVP and 2018 National League MVP runner has been nothing short of brilliant for the Cubs on both sides of the ball throughout his career. At the plate, he has blossomed with a dominant threat, especially over the past 2 seasons, and since the start of 2018, he owns a 286, 321, 544 slash line with 63 home runs and 196 RBIs across 298 games for Baez. And so they're going to have an extension on his contract. Fabulous. The terrific numbers, especially a guy whose players with shortstops and second base, and even more impressive, taking into the consideration that he also is a quality defender. Baez amassed 20 defensive runs, saved 2,646 2/3 innings as shortstop, and a further 19 in 1,856 innings at second base. And that's the elite play that likes of which particularly every team and league would kill to have. And that's what makes extending him necessary for Chicago. So they're smart in doing that. Extend his contract. Oh, yeah. I mean, that would be smart. Because this guy is fabulous. I like Javier Baez. I think this guy deserves to have his contract extended. The man is amazing. I like that. He is fabulous. Yeah, so I say, yeah, good. I think that's great. And I think we're going to see some interesting things this season for the Cubs. I really do. I'm really hoping that the Cubs can pull off a decent season this year. We got some new players. I was discussing with one of our church members who's a fan of the Cubs as well, and she was saying that they got some new guys in the pitching. So we're going to see exactly what they've got there, hoping that maybe perhaps we'll hear about that coming up. I'll be following that as well, and for my next Sports Page show, I'll talk about that, and maybe we'll even have a guest, which would be kind of cool to have a guest on and talk about that, because, you know, we can really discuss all this stuff. So I don't know. I'm kind of iffy on having females as guests on this program, without my wife being in here. So I'm kind of it's an uncomfortable thing. Don't mean to be that way, but I'm that way. There are, you know, ones that, you know, if they're married, great, you know, and they get the knowledge of the game. And absolutely fabulous. Why not? I go for it. But you know, like I said before, very uncomfortable with stuff like that. They can call my program, and talk about what I'm going to talk about on my show, but that's pretty much how far it's going to go. Don't have that many on this program. If I had a radio station, I would be hiring women DJs, but like I said before, I'm kind of, you know, when it comes to stuff like that, on a thing like Skype, to be very, very careful about who I associate with on there. So that's why I'm like that. Don't mean to be rude about it, but it's regarding somebody that I did friend on the page called Pinterest, where a lot of my radio station stuff is. And I realized that I'm friends with them, but that's about as far as it's going to go. You know what I'm saying? As far as listening to the program or participating in the show itself, that's how I see it. That's all it is, and that's all I have Skype for. It's for this program to get calls and get callers on here on Spreaker. Not necessarily over there on WGJR Worldwide on Podbean, which I get calls through the app. But and then, by the way, the next time we do get together for a sports page, that will be on Podbean, as I'm doing rotation. Okay, I rotate these shows on all the broadcast platforms. So the next show we do on Gary J Sports Page will come around, let's see, today's date is what? Today's the 12th. So it'll probably be the 26th. Depending on whether or not we have the Cubs on preseason baseball. I will do a sports page on that day on 107.9 Talk FM 108, and we'll do the show over on Podbean. Okay, that'll be on the WGJR Worldwide on Podbean, and that'll be on the WGJR Worldwide and on Talk FM 108 here for the Gary J Sports page the next time we get together for this program. It'll be on Podbean on WGJR Worldwide, so tune in for that. That's the next Gary J Sports page on Podbean on WGJR Worldwide. So just to let you know about that. All right, meantime now, I'm going to get to do our weather on the 5.
Nationwide weather update. This is GJRB's weather on the 5.
Okay, let's do that right now. Take a look at some of the current temperatures right now. It's 14 degrees below zero in Fargo, North Dakota. 14 degrees in Rapid City, South Dakota. 21 degrees in Cheyenne, Wyoming. 35 degrees Pueblo, Utah. 40 degrees in Oklahoma City. Lubbock, Texas, checking in 46 degrees. 50 degrees in Shreveport, Louisiana. 74 in Birmingham, Alabama. Get a little warmer down south there. It gets into that nice orange. 76 degrees in Jacksonville. 77 in Tampa. 66 degrees in San Antonio, Texas, 64 in San Diego, 66 Sacramento, 43 up north in Spokane, Washington. So, and there's a flash flood warning for people who are listening in. I'll do that later. Tonight's low is going to drop down to 39 degrees in Seattle. Portland, Oregon, checking in with 38 expected tonight. It'll be 46 in San Francisco, 39 Las Vegas. It'll go down to 19 degrees in Albuquerque, New Mexico, 11 in Pueblo, Utah. It'll be 8 degrees tonight in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and Rapid City. Just skip that. Thursday's high tomorrow, only 8 degrees in Bismarck, 1 degree in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, 21 in Chicago, 36 degrees Cleveland, Ohio. Cincinnati, Ohio is going to be 39. And here is our friends at Weather Nation.
Well, I bet a lot of people get excited while looking at this camera in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. This was earlier today where, yes, up into the mountains of Colorado, we have received about 4.5 feet of snow just within the last week. And well, that fresh powder just keeps on coming down. So all the snowboarders and skiers get very excited out there. But that snow has extended even further south into areas like Kansas, where snow reports ranged up to around 4 inches. For areas in Hillsboro, Marion also seeing about 4 inches of snowfall. And Topeka, almost 2 inches of snowfall throughout the early part of the day on Wednesday. Over the last 24 hours in New Mexico, we've also received up to around 4 inches of snow. As we do continue throughout the next about 24 hours here, we're still going to be dealing with that snowfall. We still have winter weather advisories in place across areas of Iowa, up towards areas of Minnesota, and then even across northern Wisconsin and into Michigan. We also have winter weather advisories in place due to the lake effect snow that will continue. Anywhere from 1 to 5 inches of snowfall is going to be possible, but take a look at our wind gusts. 45 to 50 mile per hour winds are going to be possible here. So that'll lead to blowing snow, possibility of seeing maybe some low visibility out there while driving around. Even over towards South Dakota, take a look at our wind reports here. 50 to 61 mile per hour winds. And with that snow out there, like I mentioned, just low visibility happening. But those winter weather advisories extend all the way up towards the northeast, all the way back down towards Kansas. You're included in the winter weather advisory still about 2 to 5 inches of snowfall could be possible here, and maybe some patchy ice could be possible as well. So let's take a look at this front that's moving through. We have the snow happening behind the front. We have the snow happening ahead of this front, and that'll continue as we head throughout the later part of the day here today and finally extend up into areas of the northeast, and that'll continue as we head into the overnight hours, picking up a little bit more for areas into the northeast, anywhere from Maine and down towards New York. And of course, we have all that heavy rain happening down towards the south, where it's a little bit too warm to see any of that snow, but it does look like the snowfall will follow us into our Thursday afternoon as well. A little bit lighter though than what we'll be seeing about over the next 12 hours, and then by Thursday night looking to clear up quite a bit. Until then though, our snowfall totals could be a little on the higher side. Like I mentioned, 2 to 5 inches is going to be quite common, but then once we get into these purple colors
Only show to make superstars. The winner of American Idol is Carrie Underwood!
Well, again, we lost the signal because we're having a little bit of trouble with that signal with Weather Nation, so it got cut off. But mostly what they're saying in Minnesota, they're under a they're under a blizzard warning. So once again, if that happens and Weather Nation for some reason gets stuck or goes out for any reason due to a lack of signal, I will finish off the weather by doing a weather update via our Weather Underground, which I'll do that right now because I want to take a look at Minnesota, especially Minneapolis, St. Paul, and around those areas and see where the storm is going to take place. So why don't we go into, I'm going to go into Minneapolis, Minnesota here real quick over my Weather Underground. See if I can get in there. Minneapolis, how do you spell that anyway? Okay, Minneapolis, Minnesota, here we go. I do MINN, it does the rest of it. Thank you. Much appreciated. Here we go. There's a wind chill advisory in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. Wind chill advisory for you guys. Right now, 18 degrees. And according to the St. Anthony East Station in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the advisory now remains in effect until midnight for you people listening in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. A wind chill advisory. And we're going to get this cold here in Clinton, here in Iowa too. Wind chill advisory in effect from Monday night until 10 a.m. Thursday morning. Winter weather advisory is canceled, though, according to this. So Weather Nation needs to catch up with this. But there's a winter wind chill advisory for Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. Very cold wind chill is expected with as low of 35 degrees below zero wind chill. Will be for portions of central and east central Minnesota. From midnight tonight till 10 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. Impacts including dangerous cold, wind chills, which could give you frostbite for exposed skin, and as little as 10 minutes. So precautionary measures there. Take appropriate action. Cover up. This is for Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. And I think we're in that whole mess too. So it's going to get cold up there, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. So I don't know, maybe you want to escape. If you could do some kind of, what do they call that? Beam me, like Star Trek. Yeah, beam me to L.A. It's going to be 66 degrees and sunny there. Beam me to L.A. Better than this. Paducah, Kentucky, it's raining 39 degrees right now. Houston, Texas, beat me there too. It's not bad. 52 degrees and cloudy. As you head into, we head into Manteo, North Carolina, 50 degrees and mostly cloudy. Billings, Montana, 21 degrees and mostly cloudy. 40 degrees, partly cloudy in Salem. Dallas, Texas, checking in, 48 degrees. Las Vegas, Nevada, is going to be nice, 63 degrees and sunshine. And as we check into Truckee, California, over there of Sierra Nevadas, it's going to be 50 under sunny skies. Going to take a look at the expanded weather on our final roundup of Clinton weather here before we close out here. We'll do about a quarter two before we end out our show. But that's Weather on the Fives right here on GTRB Online. Weather on the Fives, 25 and 55 past the hour on most talk shows, including the Gary Russell program, Gary J Sports Page, which you're listening to right now, and way out there, the strange, the bizarre, the unusual coming up next week right here on GTRB Online. Got another way out there ready to go. I just have to finish the last hour and a half, and I've got some stuff I want to do with that show anyway, including was going to have a guest on that program, and again, it's a female guest, so I didn't get a return off of a friend request on Facebook, so I'm going to have to fill up that hour. So I need to do that. And what I really would like to do is get a Callan, who's the guy who does the, what do they call that thing he does? No, I forgot it. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube. Anyway, Callan, that guy who does the does those strange stories. So I'm thinking about getting a hold of him because he is an interesting guy. He really is. I have him on because he'd be interesting. Let's see. That's Callan, which is I have to go to my YouTube. It's the only way I'll remember it. His name is Callan. He does this thing where he does strange stories. I'm going to go where it's up as soon as Facebook, as soon as YouTube comes up. If I skip, that's probably because I'm going into another internet site while I'm on the air, and it'll skip me on the air live. So if you hear that, that's probably what that is. It cuts out or I skip, and it's probably due to going on a website while on the air. But I'm doing that. Filming location reveal for Hogan's Heroes. I gotta check that out. Something for radio, television, and movie classics. Coming up Friday. I gotta do something with that. That's cool. I gotta find that out. Anyway, what is the name of that Callan does? Darn it. Oh, here it is. Yeah, it's called Slapped Ham. You should remember it. Slapped Ham. Callan. He does interesting stories of the paranormal, strange things that happen, stuff that happens on hidden camera. This guy's fabulous. I need to get a hold of him. Maybe he could be a guest on this show. He'd be interesting for Way Out There. But I'm going to get a hold of a couple of the Slapped Hams, a few real stories, and I'm going to do a few other stories on that show. So, tune in for that. That's coming up next week. Way Out There. Brand new show, brand new episode of Way Out There. Got some strange stories, too. So you want to check that out. Matter of fact, I'm going to be doing a preview for you from my other Spreaker, a 15-minute preview. So watch for postings on that right here on Spreaker. And I'll give you all the scoop of what we're going to be doing on that show. Way Out There next Friday at 3 o'clock here on Spreaker. 3 o'clock Central Standard, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. So tune in next week. Should be a good show. Want to check that out. And I'll have a lot of really neat stuff on that program. And it's always fun to listen to that because I do have interesting stories. And then Friday, don't forget to tune in Friday, live Friday. Now, tomorrow I will not be on. It's my birthday, 59th birthday. I'll be on, so I'm taking that day off. But I still have some stuff I want to do in the studio, and that includes finishing up my voice tracking for Crooners. So that one will be on the air with Crooners on Friday. Radio, television, and movie classics. Now, this is an extra episode. It's going to be unscripted. It's going to be an additional episode. I had written a show. I can't remember even the episode number at this point. On a blue flash drive, and I cannot find it. I lost it somewhere. And so, with that in mind, I either going to have to do is try to find that dumb thing, or I'm going to have to write a new episode. Either one, because I can't find it. Anyway, I'm doing a radio, television, and movie classics, but it's going to be an additional episode. No trivia questions. The mystery trivia questions from the last show will be made up when I find that show, and we'll put that one on in March. Because for some reason I lost my flash drive with a rundown on it. So I've got to look for that dumb thing. Either that or I'm going to have to remember what I wrote and rewrite it. Either one made probably a different episode altogether. But somewhere. So I'll have to make up that by writing another episode. I might have to if I can't find it. blue flash drive just disappeared somewhere in oblivion, taken by a troll and put in the land of the lost. Maybe one of the dinosaurs ate it. Anyway, we'll see what we can do to fix that and get another episode written. But otherwise, we're going to do a special show tomorrow, special show at 3 o'clock, and it's going to be a tribute to Kirk Douglas, who just died recently at the age of 103. So we're going to do a thing on him and a few other interesting bits, TV guide pages, and it's going to be a freestyle show. I'm going to do a lot of those freestyle shows. And it'll be on Friday on Spreaker. The next radio teletext that we do is going to be on Podbean. And I'll do that next month. We'll do Podbean. And we'll try to see if we can get radio, television, and movie class. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to do is see maybe perhaps I could do that show like this one every 2 weeks. Because I have a lot of backlog of really some good material that I could do this show every 2 weeks. I mean, really. So every other show will be a written, rundown, tight show, and every other show will be a freestyle show. It'll be the same with this one, too. It just depends on what, I have. So why don't we do this? I am going to do right now is our GJRB online Spreaker Podbean shout-outs and promotions right now. Yes. For that. The Spreaker Podbean shout-outs and promotions right now on GJRB Online here on Spreaker across America. And these are some of the great podcasters that I listen to. There's so many out there. It's hard to choose which podcasters are the best, but they're out there. And there's some great ones, too. And I need to tune into a lot of these guys because they got some good programs. And Mike Myers, Radio Hope Network. You can check him out every morning. 7 mornings a week, 365 days a year, 6 o'clock Pacific time, and 9 o'clock Eastern. And earlier that in the morning, like 5 a.m. Yeah, 5 a.m. in Alaska it was on. And the Aleutian Islands, it's on even earlier than that. So check it out. Anyway, that's the Mike Myers Show, Radio Hope Network, 3 great program. Life, love, and all good stuff on Christianity. It's just a great program. Tune in. And don't forget to listen to Muck Radio on TuneIn. 24/7 stream. Got some good programs on there. Check them out. That's the Mike Myers Show, Radio Hope Network, live on Spreaker every morning. Anything you want to listen to, check out now. I don't know. I was listening to this Belly Blast yesterday. That is OBFSU, our Big Fat Soft Thunder, on Mike Myers' radio show. And I don't know how recent those shows are that he airs, because it sounded like he wasn't going to be on this week. So I don't know if that's how old that show was. I listened to last night. But usually every Wednesday night, he has a show called Simone Nicole. Great program. OBFSU Josh. Fabulous program. It's broadcast out of Texas. And he does music, does a lot of really good, really neat stuff. Mix of music and dietary information, health stuff. And it's a great show. It's a kind of a laid-back show from what he usually does in his politics. I kind of get away from it for a while. That's a good thing. So listen to him. That's Simone Nicole, and that's dedicated to his daughter who had died. Great guy, and he does a great show every Wednesday night, 8 o'clock live Central Standard Time, 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern, right here on Spreaker. Wednesday nights. Tune into that. It's a great show. And then, of course, I don't know about Bob Huber. I noticed there's a little confliction there, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but you can hear the Huber Experience right here on Spreaker from Illinois. Great program. And I don't know what times he's on. Need to get a hold of him. So you want to do Sports Page with me? because I don't know. I guess he got fired from Mike Myers' Hope Network. I don't know what happened there. So whatever the case, I don't know. I think it had to do with something regarding language or something. But anyhow, tune into him anyway. Bob Huber Experience. And you want to get on the other side of the coin? Well, you want to go down the dial? You want to check out all the other programs? Hey, Spreaker doesn't have a radio dial. We're not AM, FM. This is a podcast platform. So a lot of these programs you hear are only podcast. Now, if you are a neighbor here and you listen on FM, fabulous. But these are all podcasts. www.spreaker.com/user/51052512055. And then you go to that page, you'll see our Spreaker site there, and you'll see the contact information. You see Facebook page, you see my Twitter. You go on to Twitter there, and you'll see my live stream right there. You click that, it takes you right into my chat room. From my chat room, you can go and look at all the followers of Spreaker, all the followers of GJRB. And we have Darwin's Theory just followed me. Darwin's Theory, I was listening to him last night on Mike Myers Radio, Mike Myers and Muck Radio. That guy has a great program. Man, half hour, really pretty fabulous. And he does a good show, and his name is Darwin's Theory. Great preaching, too. Absolutely fabulous. Welcome aboard to Darwin's Theory. Welcome aboard. Elation Radio and Flavor of Music, we welcome them. Rare Beauty, it's Emma, fabulous. And welcome. There's Simone Nicole, I mentioned that. And then we have Gail Nobles, and she puts on some interesting podcasts, dedication to some music, absolutely fabulous. You got Quest Nation, Zachary Baroque, MTFB Radio, and he puts on a good show, Zach Attack. It's a MBM. Let's try it again. They follow me. MTFB Aviation Network, or MTFB Rock Radio. These people are fabulous. Great music. Tune into there now. You'll find all those. But just go down there and click on to some of those. Those are great radio. Those are great podcasts. And all you gotta do is go to www.spreaker.com/user/5105525 and just go down there, or just go into my Twitter page. I am the Radio Maniac. Can't miss it. Antique radio emblem with the GJRB online on top. And you'll find all the programs on there. Every one of the podcasts that I listen to, you'll find it right there. And that's right here on Spreaker. And, birthday tomorrow. I don't know. As I said, I was going to broadcast tomorrow. But wouldn't it be kind of cool to be on the air live and get all those great birthday greetings in my chat room? It's just to be cool. But anyway, tomorrow I'm going to be doing some voice tracking, finish up my crooners, and get stuff ready for Friday. Valentine's Day broadcast of crooners featuring the music of Eddie Fisher. So tune in Friday afternoon, 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, 11 Pacific, right here on GJRB Online for crooners. And then we'll follow that by Radio, Television, Movie Classics Special Edition. So that's going to be called 000. It's not a pilot show. Actually, a pilot show should be 0000. But I just didn't add the extra 0. So I'm just going to put... so it's just going to be, because we lost Kirk Douglas, it's just going to be Radio, Television, and Movie Classics Special. So we're just going to call it that. And every other Radio, Television, and Movie Classics is going to be a freestyle show, and every other show is going to be a rundown of, because, sometimes I like doing the rundown, but sometimes I feel tied down by a script. I don't know what it is. Sometimes I just don't like doing it that way. I don't always like being tied down by a script or a log. I like doing it, but not all the time. So every other show of that will be a freeform show. And I probably would, and I had announced it to be on Spreaker, but I changed it to Podbean. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and stay with Spreaker, because Podbean, again, is a difficult thing because it's hard to play anything on there because it sounds like it's coming through a vacuum hose. So, quite frankly, I'm not going to do anything where I have to play something unless I do it another way. But all radio, television, and movie classic shows will continue on Spreaker, and I'll try to work out some kind of thing to try to make it sound better. I'm going to work on some more sound with that anyway. So there's going to be some test broadcast over on Podbean to keep on trying to see if we can make things sound better over there. But meanwhile, I'm going to continue the radio, television, and movie classics on Spreaker, and see what we can do with Podbean over in March. So we'll do it that way. March show, freestyle, so every other show. So we're going to do 2 shows a month of that, and I'm going to look and see how we can do that. I'm going to look at my radio, television, and movie classics and see if we can do another show in the month. Because I really think that I like to do more than just one show a month of that trivia show, because I have a lot of stuff I found, and I just found another one where they have a video on YouTube revealing the shooting location, because you've always wondered exactly where they shot Hogan's Heroes, didn't you? The filming location revealed of Hogan's Heroes. So I'm going to do something with that on my radio, television, and movie classics on Friday. So listen to that. It should be fabulous. And watch for postings just before the show on Friday. I'm going to do one on Spreaker. Probably I'm going to try it through my phone. I should try it through my phone. That might be... Yeah, I could do that because the computer is going to be occupied by crooners. So I might try something on my phone and do or my tablet, doing a preview that way and see how it sounds coming through and see if I can get responses on that. 15-minute preview Friday afternoon. So watch for that on the GJRB online Spreaker site. I'm going to go over to that. I'm going to clean out my tablet tonight so I can do that Friday. I think that would be kind of cool to try that Friday on a tablet and see if I can do a 15-minute preview of radio, television, and movie classics. So watch for postings on the GJRB, on the Gary John Russin site, Gary John Facebook page, the Gary John Russin Facebook page, and you'll see the preview of that podcast on the sites. Got 7 minutes left of this program. So I hope you enjoyed the Gary J Sports Page. That's going to wrap it up for the Sports Page for now. I got about 6 minutes and 52 seconds left. So I'm going to use that time just to remind you, just to talk to you for a few minutes about the GJRB online blog, which will be starting real soon. I'm going to be working on that one. It's a new blog page, kind of a small little blog website, which will include all the GJRB program schedule. So I won't have to work so hard trying to explain how the schedule is going to work. And I'll put some disclaimers underneath it. So that's the reason why I want to start this website. So maybe I could eliminate the GJRB schedule update podcast, other than talking about any changes in programming. Other than that, I'm going to do it that way. So I'm working on this new blog. I just started with WordPress, and I'm making a blog web page for GJRB Online, which will have all the information regarding programming, any program schedule changes, anything going on that will regard to the fact that I might have to call off a show or anything. Then I will go to my blog and make some and announce the changes there. So I'm going to be working on that one pretty much with my friend Brian Harrison, who I work with, and basically work on that. I'll probably work on it at home too. If I get an idea how that all works out, because I was playing around with it the other day at the church studios, and it looks like it'd be kind of fun to do. So I'm going to set that up, and I'll have all my program schedules on there. GJRB program. It probably won't be in a graph form. I don't think I'll be able to put that graph on there. But I could just do a text type schedule, which would go up there on how the programs are going to be. And of course, I'm going to be changing stuff on the Spreaker public site too. I need to go into all the program schedules. By the way, I still have my Christmas programming still up. I'm going to take that off. I haven't done that yet, so I'm going to have to get that down too, and change some of my program schedules. So I'll be doing that on the Spreaker public site as well. On the GJRB Spreaker public site, I've got to change the program schedules on all those. So I'm going to have to do some of that. I'm going to be working on that and other stuff. So tomorrow I got to finish up my voice tracking for crooners. So there will be no radio broadcast tomorrow. We'll be off the air. It's also my birthday tomorrow. So I will be back on Friday with crooners. We'll be in Friday. No, this is TBD at this point. Not sure yet what's going to go on, but it should be TBD at this point. Possibility we could be on as early as 10 a.m. with the Gary J in the Morning, Good Times, Great Oldies show. It's going to be playing. I'm going to get up in the morning, get on at 10 o'clock, go on live, and play oldies. So check that out. That should be fun. I'll probably, and more than likely, that's where I usually kind of, it'll be the morning show. It'll be the Gary J in the Morning show. News every 30 minutes, sports page updates, and talk and play music. And the music's going to be oldies, 50s, 60s, 70s rock and roll. And you want to tune into that. It'll be fun. That's a TBD at this point. That means to be decided, TBA. So just watch for postings about 45 minutes to an hour before airtime. So maybe 9:15 I'll post. And I'll be on the air live. I'll probably even do a live on-air preview on the Gary John site of Spreaker to let you know that we're going to be on the air. I'll do a vocal preview as well, so that we can see what will transpire from that broadcast. So tune in on that radio show. That'll be Friday morning, tentatively 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific, 7 in the Alaska time zone, whatever the case. And that's subject to change. And of course, definitely at 1 o'clock, crooners will follow with our show on Eddie Fisher, followed by radio, television, and movie classics freestyle show, 3 hours of great trivia, and a dedication to Kirk Douglas. So that should be a good show. That'll be Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock Central Standard Time, right here on Spreaker, on GJRB Online. Freestyle show, find some old trivia, and we're going to do the show without a script, without a rundown. It's just going to be whatever, whenever. We're just going to go fly off the beaten track, kind of like the Gary Russell program Freestyle Friday edition. It's going to be a Good Times, Great Oldie show, type morning show, followed by crooners, followed by radio, television, and movie classics, Freestyle Friday edition, open line show, trivia, and a whole lot of fun. And if that goes well, we might even do a sports page that way. We kind of did that today. But it should be a fun show, so tune in for that broadcast. And again, thank you so much for tuning in to Gary J Sports Page today here on GJRB Online. We got a minute left, so we're just going to say that's it for today's Sports Page. Want to thank you for tuning in to the show. A pleasure doing the program. Covered a lot in our show, including our preseason baseball and a whole lot of other things. So I hope you'll tune in for another edition of Sports Page in a couple of weeks. We'll do another freestyle show, unless I find some interesting articles and stuff to talk about, or I round up a guest. Just never know what's going to happen here. Otherwise, that's going to do it for me. Thanks a lot for tuning in to Gary J Sports Page. You have yourself your best night ever, and we'll talk to you on Friday for the Gary J's Good Times, Great Oldies, TBD Oldie Show, and of course the Oldie Show, and of course the radio, television, and movie classics crooners on Eddie Fisher. Until then, have your best night ever. This is the GJRB Online Network.